Family Farm, the true tree of the immortal dragon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401 Level 5 Exchange Meeting. Ye Changsheng thought for a while and finally decided to buy one of each point. Although the price is high, it is still affordable for him. After completing the transaction, Ye Changsheng returned to the real world with 3 precious spiritual fruits. He immediately came to the fairy tree space and couldn't wait to give birth to these spiritual fruits. Ye Changsheng carefully took out 3 drops of 5th level fairy dew and dropped them on the 3 spiritual fruits. With the nourishment of the fairy dew, the spiritual fruit began to grow and divide at a speed visible to the naked eye. After some hard work, 9 of each spiritual fruit were successfully produced. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed. This harvest far exceeded expectations. However, Ye Changsheng was not satisfied with this. He decided to go to Lanayou Fairy City again to find more types of 5th level spiritual fruits. 3 months later, Ye Changsheng arrived at Lanayou Immortal City, a 6th level immortal city. This fairy city is large in scale and magnificent, even worse than Lanayou Fairy City. Ye Changsheng searched around the city for information, hoping to find some rare 5th level spiritual fruits. After half a month of hard work, he finally got an important piece of information. A 5th level spirit fruit exchange meeting will be held in the city in the near future. This exchange meeting is not small in scale, and it is said that hundreds of Yushu ancestors will participate. Ye Changsheng was delighted. This was exactly the opportunity he was looking for. However, it is not easy to participate in such a swap meet. Ye Changsheng inquired and found out that one must be recommended by one of the conveners to enter the venue. After some twists and turns, Ye Changsheng found a Yushu ancestor who was greedy for money. After spending 5 million spirit stones, he finally got a letter of introduction. With the letter of introduction, Ye Changsheng was finally able to visit one of the conveners of the exchange meeting. Old Man Kyankan. Elder Kyankan lives on the highest fairy peak in Lanayou Fairy City. Ye Changsheng came to the foot of the mountain and saw that the entire mountain peak was shrouded in a faint layer of fairy mist, making it look mysterious and solemn. Climbing up the mountain road, Ye Changsheng came to a simple Taoist temple. Just as he was about to knock on the door, he heard a deep voice coming from inside. "Come in." Ye Changsheng pushed the door open and saw a white-haired old man sitting on a futon meditating. The old man looked to be over 70 years old, but he was energetic, his eyes were piercing, and he exuded an indescribable pressure from all over his body. "Junior Ye Changsheng, pay my respects to Senior Kyankan." Ye Changsheng saluted respectfully. Old Man Kyankan opened his eyes, looked at Ye Changsheng, and nodded slightly. "Yes, it is rare to have such cultivation at such a young age. Tell me, why did you come to see me?" Ye Changsheng presented the letter of introduction and said respectfully, "Junior heard that there will be a 5th level spiritual fruit exchange meeting in the near future, and I came here to ask Senior to allow me to participate." Old Man Kyankan took the letter of introduction, put it aside without reading it, and said calmly, "The fact that you can find this place shows that you have some abilities. However, if you want to participate in the exchange meeting, a letter of introduction is not enough." Ye Changsheng's heart tightened, and he quickly asked, "I wonder what other conditions are needed? I will try my best to satisfy them." Old Man Kyankan stroked his beard and said slowly, "First of all, you must have at least 2 items that you can sell. Secondly, your cultivation level is lower than the regulations, and I have to give an explanation to others. Finally, you also need to there is enough identity background." After hearing this, Ye Changsheng felt a little uneasy. He thought for a moment and suddenly remembered the token given to him by Master Chu Yuji. He carefully took out the token from the storage bag and handed it to Old Man Kyankan respectfully. Old Man Kyankan took the token and looked at it carefully. Suddenly, his brows raised and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He felt that the token was filled with the surging aura of Chu Yuji, and he couldn't help but exclaimed, Are you the direct disciple of old Ghost Chu?" Ye Changsheng replied respectfully, "Yes, this junior is Master's 5th disciple." Complicated look flashed in old man Kyankan's eyes, and he asked again, I heard that your master has gone into seclusion to break through to the 6th level of Yuan Shen realm. Ye Changsheng hesitated for a moment, but answered truthfully, yes, master is indeed in seclusion to attack the 6th level soul realm. Upon hearing this, old man Kyankan showed a hint of admiration on his face. He immediately changed his attitude and said kindly, in that case, you are certainly qualified to participate in this exchange meeting. The disciples of Old Ghost Chu are naturally extraordinary. Ye Changsheng's heart trembled, and he was secretly surprised by the prestige of his master among the 5th level monks in Lanniu City. He couldn't help feeling happy and proud that he had such a powerful master. Old man Kyankan asked again, do you have 2 5th level treasures to exchange? Upon hearing this, Ye Changsheng immediately took out 2 exquisite jade boxes from the storage bag. He carefully opened the box and revealed the treasures inside. These are 5th level top grade below fruits and divine wool fruits. I wonder if they can penetrate the eyes of seniors. When old man Kyankan saw these 2 treasures, his eyes suddenly widened with a shocked expression on his face. He looked at the 2 spirit fruits carefully, his eyes shining with surprise. Okay. Old man Kyankan said 3 good words in a row. I didn't expect you to be able to produce such rare spiritual fruits at such a young age. It seems that all of Old Ghost Chu's disciples are indeed very powerful. I admire you. As he spoke, Elder Kyankan took out an exquisite jade token from his bosom and handed it to Ye Changsheng. This is the entry and exit token for the exchange meeting. You can participate with this. The exchange meeting will be held in Xian Villa in the western suburbs of Lanniu Fairy City in 3 days. At that time, you only need to show this token to enter. Ye Changsheng took the token respectfully and put it away carefully. He bowed deeply to Elder Kyankan and said gratefully, thank you for your help. I'm very grateful, Elder. Kyankan waved his hand and smiled. No need to be polite. Since you are the disciple of Chileogdi and have such strength, it is natural for you to participate in this exchange meeting. I look forward to your performance at the exchange meeting. Ye Changsheng thanked again and said goodbye. Time flies, and 3 days have passed in the blink of an eye. Ye Changsheng came to Xian Villa in the western suburbs of Lanniu Fairy City as promised. When he stepped onto the stone steps leading to the villa, he couldn't help but be shocked by the scene in front of him. The entire Lingfeng is dotted with various villas and caves, scattered on the mountainside and the top of the mountain. What's more surprising is that Ye Changsheng felt that the entire Lingfeng actually contained a 5th level spiritual vein. No wonder it attracted so many high-level cultivators to settle here. Arriving at the gate of Xian Villa, Ye Changsheng took out the pass token. In an instant, the formation around the villa rippled, and then an entrance opened. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and walked in. What came into view was a picturesque scene. The interior of Xian Villa is like a small world of its own, with simple and elegant buildings and natural landscapes perfectly integrated. Chapter 402 Xian Villa. The winding stone path winds between dense bamboo forests, and clear streams pour down from the rockery, forming small waterfalls in the distance. A 3-story pavilion stands majestically, with upturned eaves, and carved beams and painted pillars, showing its classical charm. In the courtyard, there are several towering ancient branches with lush leaves, and there are several stone tables and benches placed under the trees, obviously for people to rest. Ye Changsheng walked among them, and from time to time he could see carefully trimmed flower beds, where colorful exotic flowers and plants were blooming, emitting a faint fragrance. The whole villa gives people a feeling of leisurely contentment and peace of mind, as if they are in a paradise. Following the stone path, Ye Changsheng came to an open garden. There are hundreds of exquisite pavilions arranged here. Each pavilion has its own independent scenery in different styles. Some are simple and elegant, some are carved and painted, and some are simple and fresh. Ye Changsheng looked around and found that 70 or 80 people had arrived one after another, and each chose their favorite pavilion to sit down. Ye Changsheng did not dare to neglect and quickly chose a vacant pavilion near the center to sit down. He noticed that the monks who came to participate in the exchange meeting were both male and female, old and young, but all of them were deep-breathed and Advancing cultivation point time passed slowly, and after about 2 hours, the participants began to arrive one after another. At this time, a white-haired old man slowly came to the central pavilion. His aura was as thick as the abyss, and he was obviously a powerful man with advanced cultivation point. The old man looked around and announced loudly, "Fellow Taoists, today's 5th level treasure exchange meeting officially begins." As the old man finished speaking, a middle-aged man with a tall stature and a majestic face stood up first. Ye Changsheng observed carefully, and found that this person's aura was deep and thick, and he was clearly a monk in the middle level of Yashu. He waved his hand, and a crystal clear elixir appeared out of thin air in his palm, exuding rich spiritual energy. This is a 5th level elixir that has grown for 100,000 years, called U0027 10,000 years ice heart grass U0027. The middle-aged man introduced, "I want to exchange it for a pill that can enhance the power of the soul. I don't know. Is there anything suitable among fellow Taoists?" Ye Changsheng's heart moved. The billow fruit in his storage bag was a good medicine to replenish the soul power of 5th level monks, but when he thought about it, although this 100,000-year-old medicine was precious, it was not what he needed most at the moment. Therefore, Ye Changsheng suppressed the impulse in his heart and said nothing. Soon, an old man with white hair and a childish face stood up, holding an exquisite jade bottle in his hand. "Fellow Taoist, I have a bottle of U0027 soul condensing elixir U0027 here. It is a 5th level elixir specially used to enhance soul power. Can you take a look?" The middle-aged man was overjoyed when he heard this. The two chatted happily and quickly reached a deal. In the envious eyes of everyone, they exchanged treasures with each other. Immediately afterwards, the second monk appeared on the stage. This was a man who looked to be about 40 years old. He took out a crystal clear jade bottle, which contained 10 elixirs that exuded a faint golden light. "Fellow Taoists, this is the U0027 Treasure King elixir U0027 that I have refined through untold hardships. There are 10 of them in total. This elixir can effectively enhance the cultivation of monks in the middle stage of Yashu." The man introduced, "I want to exchange it for a 5th level mid-grade defensive formation. I wonder which fellow Taoist is willing to exchange it." As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged female cultivator in a lavender dress stood up. She held a storage bag in her hand and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist, I have a set of U0027 Ziksha body protection formation U0027 here, which is a 5th level mid-level defensive formation. I wonder if you are interested." The man was overjoyed when he heard this and quickly stepped forward to take a closer look. After some discussion and verification, the two quickly reached a deal. As the transactions of the previous monks ended, more monks began to take the stage to display their treasures. Some people took out rare elixirs, some showed powerful talismans, and some showed exquisite formations. Although these treasures are extremely precious, they are not what Ye Changsheng needs most at the moment. Soon, it was the turn of the 7th trader to appear. This was an old man in black robes. He walked forward slowly, holding an exquisite jade box in his hand. "Fellow Taoists, I have a U0027 divine presence fruit U0027 here, which is a 5th level high-grade spiritual fruit." The old man spoke slowly, his voice hoarse, but full of majesty. "This fruit can effectively break through the bottleneck from the mid to late 5th level. Is truly a treasure for cultivators." As soon as this statement came out, everyone present immediately started talking. Everyone knows how difficult it is to break through to the late 5th level, and the treasures that can help break through are naturally extremely precious. The old man in black robe continued, "I want to exchange it for a treasure that can improve the cultivation qualifications of 5th level monks. I wonder if you have something suitable." Ye Changsheng's heart moved. He realized that there must be a vast market for this kind of spiritual fruit in the heavenly palace, and if he could get it, he would definitely make a lot of money in the future. Thinking of this, he stood up without hesitation. "Senior Junior, here is a U0027 divine will fruit U0027, which can temporarily enhance the monk's spiritual root realm to the holy level, and the effect can last for 30 years. I wonder if I can take a look." Ye Changsheng said respectfully. When the old man in black robe heard this, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. He carefully inspected the divine will fruit that Ye Changsheng took out, and nodded with satisfaction. Okay, this fruit is just what I need. How about we exchange it? The two quickly reached an agreement and completed the transaction under the envious gaze of the crowd. The treasures displayed by the next few traders were precious, but none of them were what Ye Changsheng needed. The situation did not change until the 13th trader appeared. This was a young monk in a white robe. He took out a crystal clear fruit, emitting a faint white light. Fellow Taoists, this is U0027 Yuling fruit. U0027, a 5th level top grade spiritual fruit. The white-robed young man introduced. This fruit can effectively improve the cultivation of the late Yashu realm cultivators. I want to use it to exchange for a treasure or elixir that can enhance the power of the soul. Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up. As we all know, it is extremely difficult to improve the cultivation in the late Yashu realm. Breaking through the last 3 levels, that is, the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels of the Yashu realm, is more difficult than breaking through from the 6th level of the Yashu realm to the 7th level of the Yashu realm. In the final analysis, it is because the precious medicines at this level are becoming increasingly scarce, so the Yuling fruit is precious. After thinking for a while, he decided to take out his own billow fruit for exchange. My fellow Taoist, I have a U0027 billow fruit. U0027, which is a 5th level spiritual fruit specially used to enhance soul power. I wonder if you are willing to exchange it. Ye Changsheng stepped forward and said. The young man in white robe carefully examined the billow fruit and smiled with satisfaction. The two quickly reached an agreement and completed the transaction. The transaction continued until the 21st exchanger appeared and the whole scene boiled again. Chapter 403 White Dragon Fruit. This is a stunning female cultivator in a white dress. She walked up slowly, holding a fruit that exuded a faint dragon's might in her hand. My fellow Taoists, this is U0027 White Dragon Fruit. U0027, a 5th level top level spiritual fruit. The female cultivator introduced softly. This fruit can increase the cultivation of a 5th level cultivator by 500 years out of thin air, and it can be called the treasure of the cultivation world. As soon as this was said, the whole audience was in an uproar. Everyone knew that treasures of this level were extremely rare, and even large sects might not be able to take them out. The female cultivator in the white dress continued. I want to use it to exchange for a treasure that can enhance the ability to comprehend the Tao. I wonder if you have something suitable. Ye Changsheng's heart moved. He knew that when he reached the Yashu realm, the comprehension of the Tao was more important than any other factor. Treasures that can enhance the ability to comprehend the Tao have always been one of the most coveted treasures by high-level cultivators. Taking a deep breath, Ye Changsheng solemnly walked forward and took out the royal god fruit that he had treasured for a long time. My fellow Taoist, I have a U0027 royal god fruit. U0027 here, which is a top treasure specially used to enhance the ability of enlightenment. I wonder if you are willing to exchange it. When the royal god fruit came out, the whole audience was in an uproar again. Many cultivators had greed in their eyes, and they wanted to take it. The female cultivator in white skirt carefully examined the royal god fruit, and her eyes flashed with surprise. She nodded in agreement without hesitation, and the two quickly completed the transaction. Amid the envious eyes of the crowd, Ye Changsheng put away the white dragon fruit. The transaction continued, and the atmosphere became more and more heated. When the 39th exchanger appeared, the whole audience was in a boiling state again. This was an old man in a grey robe. He walked up slowly, holding a fruit emitting a strange light in his hand. The old man had a vicissitudes of life, but his eyes flashed with wisdom. My fellow Taoists, this is U0027 substitute fruit. U0027, a 5th level top level spiritual fruit. The old man's steady voice sounded. This fruit is a wooden fruit. You only need to carve the corresponding substitute formation on it to play a real substitute effect. Whether it is to save your life or explore, it is a rare treasure. As Soon as these words came out, the whole audience was in an uproar again. When Ye Changsheng heard this, he couldn't help but feel excited. He remembered the wooden doll that his master Chu Yuji had given him. Although they were both substitute treasures, this substitute fruit was obviously more advanced. Whether it is used by himself or brought back to the heavenly palace for trading, it is a rare treasure. The grey-robed old man continued, I want to use it to exchange for a 5th level top level treasure of the heavenly secret deduction type. I wonder if you have something suitable. This request made the cultivators present fall into deep thought. Treasures of the heavenly secret deduction type are already rare, and those that can reach the 5th level top are even rarer. Time passed by, but no one stood up. Just when everyone thought that the transaction would end in vain, Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and stepped forward resolutely. He knew that this was a rare opportunity that could not be missed. This Senior, I have a U0027 Royal God Fruit U0027 here. Although it is not specifically used for the deduction of the heavenly secrets, it can greatly enhance the ability to understand the Tao, and is also of great help in comprehending the heavenly secrets. I wonder if you are willing to consider it. Ye Changsheng said respectfully. The grey-robed old man heard this, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He carefully looked at the royal god fruit in Ye Changsheng's hand, and fell into deep thought. The entire trading field fell into silence, and everyone held their breath, waiting for the old man's decision. After a long time, the old man finally spoke, what you said is right. The royal god fruit is indeed a rare treasure. Although it is not what I wanted at first, it is enough to make up for my shortcomings in the deduction of the heavenly secrets. Okay, I agree to this exchange. As soon as the voice fell, the whole audience burst into cheers. Everyone was excited about this wonderful transaction. Ye Changsheng and the grey-robed old man quickly completed the handover and each put away the treasure they had long admired. The transaction continued, and soon it was time for the 49th exchanger to appear. This time, it was a Jade Tree Realm cultivator who looked like a delicate young woman. She was wearing a lavender dress, elegant temperament, and exuded the charm of a mature woman in her every move. Fellow Taoists, I have a U0027 Great Dream Thousand Autumn Fruit U0027 here. The young woman said softly, this fruit can make the cultivator enter the dream for 5,000 years. It is one of the best spiritual medicines for the 5th level Jade Tree Realm cultivator to stabilize the heart of Tao. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was boiling again. The name of the Great Dream Thousand Autumn Fruit had been heard by all the cultivators present. This spiritual fruit that can allow people to practice in dreams for thousands of years is a treasure that any cultivator dreams of. The young woman continued, I want to exchange it for a spiritual medicine that can break through the Yuanshan realm. Do you have something suitable? This request made the cultivators present gasp. The spiritual medicine that can break through the Yuanshan realm is far more valuable than the Great Dream Thousand Autumn Fruit. Even Ye Changsheng, although he had a Cheyenne Lan flower in his hand, was unwilling to exchange it. Time passed by minute, and the scene fell into an awkward silence. Just when everyone thought that this transaction would end in vain, Ye Changsheng stood up again. My fellow Taoist, I still have a U0027 Royal God Fruit U0027 here. Although it cannot directly help people break through the Yuanshan realm, it can greatly enhance the ability to understand the Tao, and is also of great help in impacting the Yuanshan realm. I wonder if you are willing to consider it. Ye Changsheng took out the royal god fruit again. When the young woman heard this, a trace of surprise flashed in her beautiful eyes. She carefully looked at the royal god fruit in Ye Changsheng's hand, and fell into deep thought. Finally, the young woman showed an elegant smile. This fellow Taoist is right. The royal god fruit is indeed a rare treasure. Although it is not what I wanted at first, it is also very helpful for me to break through the Yuanshan realm. Okay, I agree to this exchange. In this way, Ye Changsheng once again completed an enviable transaction. In the envious eyes of everyone, he carefully put away the Great Dream Thousand Autumn Fruit, his heart full of joy. Ye Changsheng put away the Great Dream Thousand Autumn Fruit with joy, and his heart was secretly happy. This legendary spiritual fruit finally fell into his hands, which must be of great benefit to his future cultivation. At the next trade fair, Ye Changsheng never found a suitable exchange partner again. He quietly observed the transactions of other cultivators, and from time to time there were amazing treasures, but none of them were what he needed. After a few hours, the trade conference finally came to an end. The white-haired old man who hosted the trade fair stood up and announced loudly, "Dear fellow Taoists, this Xi'an Mountain Villa Spiritual Fruit Trade Fair has come to a successful conclusion. Thank you all for your participation and support. The next trade fair will be held in 10 years, and we invite you to come again then." As the old man finished speaking, the cultivators said goodbye and left. Ye Changsheng was no exception. After saying goodbye to the host, he left Xi'an Mountain Villa. Chapter 404 Jade Tree Pill. On the way back, Ye Changsheng carefully kept the treasure he had just obtained. He was not in a hurry to travel, but he traveled through famous mountains and rivers while consolidating his cultivation. In this way, it took him 3 months to return to Qinghu Peak Point. After returning to the familiar cave, Ye Changsheng first rested for 3 days to give his body and mind a full rest. Then, he began to sort out the various spiritual fruits obtained at the trade fair. In the process of classification and filing, Ye Changsheng suddenly remembered that there was an unknown tree root in his divine tree space. With a thought, Ye Changsheng entered the divine tree space. He carefully took out the mysterious tree root and looked at it carefully. After hesitating for a moment, he decided to try to drip a drop of 4th level fairy dew. Surprisingly, the vitality of the tree root increased a lot immediately. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed, and he keenly felt that this mysterious tree root was at least a 6th level spiritual object. For safety reasons, he decided to continue to keep this tree root properly and wait for a better opportunity to do research in the future. After handling all the affairs, Ye Changsheng entered the state of retreat again. This time, he focused on practicing 3 kinds of magical powers, i.e. true fire, Below Wangu and Tegazu and Huan. With the help of the spiritual medicine he had obtained before, his practice speed was more than 10 times faster than before. Time flies, and 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. During this period, Ye Changsheng's magical power cultivation has made great progress, and all 3 magical powers have made a qualitative leap. Just as he was about to continue his studies, he suddenly remembered that another group of his children had grown up and reached the age of starting a family. Ye Changsheng recalled that during his retreat, he had arranged marriages for 3 sons and 6 daughters who had no spiritual roots. The 3 sons are the 28th Ye Changtao, the 36th Ye Changsheng, and the 42 Ye Changshu. The 6 daughters are the 25th Ye Changqi, the 33rd Ye Changaiyu, the 34th Ye Changaiyu, the 38th Ye Changxi, the 44th Ye Chenglei, and the 43rd Ye Chenglian, and they have all started their own families now. Now, there are 9 sons and 2 daughters with spiritual roots who have reached the marriageable age. Ye Changsheng decided to make good arrangements for them. The 9 sons are the 26th son Ye Chengru, the 27th son Ye Chenglan, the 29th son Ye Chenglin, the 31st son Ye Chengjin, the 32nd son Ye Chengtong, the 33rd son Ye Chenglan, the 37th son Ye Chengjin, the 39th son Ye Chengshan, the 44th son Ye Chengyan. Except for the youngest Ye Chengyan, the others are already in their 30s. What makes Ye Changsheng happy is that their cultivation has reached the foundation building stage, and some have even been promoted to the purple mansion level. The 2 unmarried daughters with spiritual roots are the 35th son Ye Chengfei and the 41st son Ye Chengqian. Their cultivation is also good, and it is time to consider their lifelong affairs. Ye Changsheng sat in the study, flipping through the information of each child, thinking about how to arrange their marriage. He decided to find the most suitable Taoist partner for each child, who should be of equal status and in love with each other. This is not an easy task, but as a responsible father, Ye Changsheng feels that this is his unshakable responsibility. Ye Changsheng sat in the study, thinking carefully about how to arrange marriages for his children. At this time, his eldest son Ye Chenggai walked in. "Father, what do you want to talk to me about?" Ye Chenggai asked respectfully. Ye Changsheng nodded and said seriously, "Chenggai, I have an important matter to give you." He explained to Ye Chenggai in detail the marriage requirements of each child, and especially emphasized the fact that the youngest son Ye Chenggan was a Holy Spirit root. This news surprised Ye Chenggai. He did not expect that his youngest brother would have such a rare talent. Ye Changsheng continued, your other brothers must at least find wives with second spiritual roots. Your sister Ye Changqian with heavenly spiritual roots must find a husband with heavenly spiritual roots, and your sister Ye Changfei with second spiritual roots must at least find a husband with second spiritual roots. Moreover, everyone's partners must be of the same realm. Ye Chang'ai carefully noted his father's request, and then asked, Father, these marriages probably require a lot of resources, right? Ye Changsheng waved his hand and said, you go to the housekeeper Ye Changsheng. He will give you all the resources you need. Ye Chang'ai bowed and took the order, and began to prepare for this arduous task. Half a month later, Ye Chang'ai returned with the information purchased from Xianji Pavilion. He reported to his father, Father, with the current status of our Ye family, it is not difficult to find a suitable daughter-in-law. But, what? Ye Changsheng asked. Ye Chang'ai said with some embarrassment, we only found 3 women with the same Holy Spirit root as Chang'an, who are at the Purple Mansion realm. This is too rare, and it may be difficult to marry them. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment, and then said, call Chang'an. After a while, Ye Chang'an came to the study. Ye Changsheng told him the situation, and asked him to choose one of the 3 women. After reading the information carefully, Ye Chang'an chose the most beautiful woman named Huang Qian. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, okay, I will take you to marry in person. You go back and prepare first. Ye Chang'an left happily, and Ye Changsheng began to think about how to persuade the other family. Ye Changsheng estimated that he would ask the other family to give up such a precious treasure of Holy Spirit root. This is a treasure that can advance to the Daoting realm without the need for spiritual medicine, and it requires a considerable price. And the Jade Tree pill for advancing to the Jade Tree realm is definitely indispensable. The main medicine for refining the Jade Tree pill is the Zhuanhuang root. This precious medicine takes 100,000 years to mature, but under Ye Changsheng's fairy dew, it can grow instantly. Ye Changsheng decided to refine the Jade Tree pill as a betrothal gift. He first came to the Heavenly Palace, and found a shop selling 5th level spiritual medicine seeds in the 4th to last ring. After some bargaining, he spent 3 million high quality spiritual stones to buy a Zhuanhuang root seed. After returning to the real world, Ye Changsheng came to the fairy tree space. He carefully took out the Zhuanhuang root seed, and then spent a drop of precious 5th level fairy dew to promote its birth. In an instant, a fully mature Zhuanhuang root appeared in front of him, and it also produced hundreds of seeds. Ye Changsheng was ecstatic. He promoted the birth of another Zhuanhuang root, and then carefully took out 2 rhizomes. This precious medicine, that takes 100,000 years to mature in the outside world, only took a moment to grow in his hands with 2 Zhuanhuang roots. Ye Changsheng came to the Heavenly Palace again, and found a famous medicine store. When the shop owner saw the Zhuanhuang roots, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. After some bargaining, Ye Changsheng exchanged 2 100,000-year-old Zhuanhuang roots for 4 high-quality jade tree pills and 4 medium-quality jade tree pills. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405, Marrying the Holy Spirit Root. After getting the elixir, Ye Changsheng was secretly happy. With these Yashu pills and the Ye family's status and reputation, it shouldn't be a problem to convince the Huang family. He began to look forward to the upcoming marriage proposal, and was relieved that his youngest son was about to find a good match. In the 5th year of Ye Changsheng's 10-year retreat, Li Changfeng arrived as promised and brought 174.03 million high-grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng was well prepared, and took out the same number and category of spiritual fruits as last time. After Li Changfeng carefully inspected it, he nodded with satisfaction, and the 2 parties once again completed a mutually beneficial transaction. After the transaction was completed, Ye Changsheng began to make final preparations for the marriage proposal. In addition to the Yashu pill that he had prepared, He also carefully selected 3 pieces each of fairy root fruit, Yunmeng white pear, Huanglian Yiman fruit, Zixaling peach, Key soul fruit and Changsheng fruit as part of the betrothal gift point. These spiritual fruits are all top level treasures of the 4th level, and each has its own unique effects, which is enough to demonstrate the sincerity and strength of the Ye family. After getting ready, Ye Changsheng took his youngest son Ye Changyan on a journey to the world of immortality in the great dream country. They rode flying instruments, passed through heavy clouds, and spanned the vast land. On the way, Ye Changsheng explained various cultivation experiences and principles of life to his son, preparing for his upcoming marriage. After 4 months of long journey, they finally arrived at Shyanteo Mountain in the dream cultivation world. The Huang family is a well-known Taoist family in the world of dream cultivation, and its mountain gate is magnificent and full of spiritual energy. Ye Changsheng followed the etiquette and respectfully knocked at the mountain gate. Soon, a powerful man from the Taoist realm flew out to greet Ye Changsheng and his son. The elder led them into the living room, and Ye Changsheng got straight to the point and explained his purpose. When the elder heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. I didn't expect that the news that Huang Qian was the root of the Holy Spirit would spread so quickly. I can't make the decision on this important matter. It needs the clan leader to make a decision. Wait a moment, you two. Not long after, Huang Qian, the head of the Huang family, appeared in person. His expression was solemn, and a complex light shone in his eyes after learning that Ye Changsheng was going to marry his son Huang Qian, the Huang family's treasure. He shook his head repeatedly. He said seriously, I don't know how you knew that my Huang Qian has the Holy Spirit's constitution, but my family will never agree to it. Brother Ye, if there is a girl with the Holy Spirit in your family, you won't agree to marry outside either. Please understand that this matter is not negotiable at all. Ye Changsheng smiled and said, I know that your Huang family will definitely not allow this, but have you ever thought about it? If she stays in the Huang family, she may be able to advance to the Taoist realm, but she may not be able to break through to the Yashu realm. Such a big confidence. There are many examples of monks with Holy Spirit roots who have stopped at the Taoist realm. Ye Changsheng paused and continued, but if she marries into my Ye family, the situation will be very different. I'm willing to give 4 Yashu pills as compensation, 2 of which are high grade and 2 of which are medium grade. This is equivalent to giving the Huang family has 4 opportunities to attack the Yashu realm. With that said, Ye Changsheng took out 4 Yashu pills and placed them on the table. The jade tree elixir exudes a faint fragrance, and jade tree lines are faintly visible on the surface of the elixir. The high quality is breathtaking. When Huang Qian saw this, a trace of shock flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that Ye Changsheng would pay such a high price for Huang Qian. For a moment, he fell into deep thought. Seeing that Huang Qian was wavering, Ye Changsheng took advantage of the victory and pursued it. Moreover, if Miss Qian marries into my Ye family, I can guarantee that she will definitely be able to break through the Yashu realm. Our Ye family has no shortage of resources to advance to the Yashu realm. This will be a good match for Huang. It is also a kind of security for my family. More importantly, my son Changyan is also a Holy Spirit. He is only 28 years old and has reached the 2nd level of Zifu. He and Miss Qian are a perfect match. Ye Changsheng said this and took out the prepared spiritual fruit. If the Huang family agrees to this marriage, I will also provide these betrothal gifts. He placed 3 each of the immortal root fruit, Yunmeng white pear, Huanglian Yiman fruit, Zixia spirit peach, Kipao fruit and Changsheng fruit on the table, and introduced the effects of each spiritual fruit in detail. Huang Qian was shocked again. Each of these spiritual fruits was extremely valuable, and it was even rarer to have all 6 of them together. He was silent for a long time, and finally said only, please listen to my news. After saying that, he left in a hurry. Ye Changsheng and his son waited in the living room for 3 full days. During the past 3 days, Ye Changyan seemed a little nervous, while Ye Changsheng constantly comforted his son and taught him to stay calm and confident. On the evening of the 3rd day, Huang Qian appeared in the living room again. He still looked serious and said, to be honest, our Huang family has never set any restrictions on Qian's marriage. as long as it is her wish. Whether she recruits his son-in-law within the Huang family or marries outside, we respect her choice. We have already, after informing Qian Qian about your family's situation, she agreed to the marriage. Hearing the news, Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief, and his joy was beyond words. He solemnly said, "Thank you to the Huang family for their generosity. Our Ye family will definitely live up to the Huang family in the future." As he spoke, he pushed 4 Yashu pills and 18 4th level spiritual fruits in front of Huang Wenqian. After Huang Wenqian carefully inspected them, he carefully put away these precious betrothal gifts. Ye Changsheng added, "We plan to marry our 2 children in 7 months. I wonder if the Huang family will be ready for Miss Qian Qian to get married in 3 months. Huang Wenqian pondered for a moment, nodded and said, "Okay." Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this, and once again bowed his hands deeply to Huang Wenqian. "I can't thank you enough." The 2 sides exchanged a few more polite words, and Ye Changsheng took Ye Changyan away. During the 4 months of the return journey, Ye Changsheng was in a good mood and discussed future plans with his son from time to time. They finally returned to the Qinghu Peak of the Ye family and began to prepare for the upcoming wedding. Just as Ye Changsheng was preparing for the wedding, Li Changfeng arrived as promised and delivered another 174,030,000 high-quality spirit stones. However, due to the betrothal gift to Ye Changyan, Ye Changsheng had 3 less of each of the 6 kinds of spirit fruits in his hand. Li Changfeng was slightly disappointed, but he also understood Ye Changsheng's situation, so he left with the remaining spirit fruits in a blink of an eye. 3 months passed quietly. Qinghu Peak was once again bustling because Ye Changsheng held a grand collective wedding for his 9 sons with spiritual roots. The entire Qinghu Peak was decorated with lights and colors and was full of joy. Guests from all sides came in an endless stream, and congratulations came one after another on the wedding day. 9 couples dressed in gorgeous dresses and completed a series of traditional ceremonies amid the blessings of everyone. Ye Changsheng, as the host, had a gratified smile on his face. He gave each couple precious gifts and earnest blessings, hoping that they could spend the rest of their lives together and improve their cultivation. Chapter 406 Chu Yuji arrives. After the wedding, Ye Changsheng did not stop, but immediately went into seclusion to practice. 3 months later, he came out of seclusion again and held a grand wedding ceremony for his 2 daughters with spiritual roots. When bidding farewell to his daughter, Ye Changsheng could not conceal his reluctance, but more importantly, he expressed his expectations for his daughter's future. After the ceremony, Ye Changsheng devoted himself to practicing again. This retreat lasted for 20 years. When he came out of seclusion again, he had successfully broken through to the 2nd level of Taoting. This breakthrough made Ye Changsheng ecstatic, and he felt that his strength had made a qualitative leap. Just when Ye Changsheng was immersed in the joy of breakthrough, a person he never expected came to Qinghu Peak, his master Chu Yuji. Chu Yuji said with a kind smile, "My teacher has successfully advanced to the 6th level of Yuanshen realm and has completely stabilized the realm. This time I came to see how your cultivation is going. I didn't expect that your progress was so rapid. You are only over 100 years old, and you have already advanced to the 2nd level of the Taoting realm. You must know that other people often cannot break through a realm in the Taoting realm, but I didn't expect you to be such a genius." Ye Changsheng was very excited when he heard the words, and he quickly knelt down and saluted. "Disciple, I bow to the master. What I have achieved today is entirely due to the grace of the master's teachings." Chu Yuji helped Ye Changsheng up and said with a smile, "Okay, no need to be polite. I'm here as a teacher, and I also want to see how you have been doing these years." Ye Changsheng quickly arranged for his servants to prepare a sumptuous banquet to entertain the master during the dinner. Ye Changsheng confided to Chu Yuji his experiences and insights over the years. After drinking for 3 rounds, Ye Changsheng suddenly said seriously, "Master, I have something to ask of you." Chu Yuji put down his wine glass and said with a smile, "But it doesn't matter." Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and said, "I have had some opportunities in recent years, but I have always been trembling with fear. Now that I know that, master, you have advanced to the realm of Yuanshen, I'm really relieved. It's just that I can't always stay with master, So please master gives you the means to protect your disciples. Chu Yuji laughed loudly after hearing this. What's so difficult about this? Not long after I advanced, I made a token. The effect is similar to the one I gave you before. It has my 3 peak attacks on it, but this time it's just the 3 basic strikes of Yuan Shen. With your resources, I'll give you this token to protect your safety. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and quickly knelt down and thanked him. Thank you so much, master. I can't thank you enough. Chu Yuji handed the token to Ye Changsheng and warned, this token was made with great effort by my master. It is very powerful. You must use it with caution and do not show it to others easily. Ye Changsheng solemnly took the token, put it away carefully, and once again expressed his deep gratitude to the master at this gathering. The master and the apprentice had a great conversation, and they reluctantly said goodbye until late at night. In the early morning of the next day, Ye Changsheng got up early and waited respectfully outside the door of Master Chu Yuji's room. When Chu Yuji pushed open the door and walked out, Ye Changsheng immediately bowed and saluted. Master, I have many questions about cultivation. Please give me some advice. Chu Yuji smiled kindly and said, okay, that's what I meant as a teacher. Come, let's go to the Qingquan Pavilion in the back mountain. The environment there is quiet and perfect for discussing cultivation matters. The master and apprentice came to Qingquan Pavilion, and Ye Changsheng began to ask Chu Yuji for advice on various cultivation problems, from the basic flow of breath to the profound understanding of laws, from the refining of elixirs to the arrangement of formations. Ye Changsheng asked carefully, and Chu Yuji answered in detail. This question and answer actually lasted for half a month. During this period, Ye Changsheng wanted to stop several times, fearing that he would waste the master's time, but Chu Yuji always smiled and said, don't be anxious, it's a rare visit for the master, so I will naturally answer all your questions clearly. 1. Evening. Half a month later, when Ye Changsheng's last question was answered, he felt as if he had been reborn, and many of the problems that had troubled him before were solved. Just when Ye Changsheng was about to thank his master again, Chu Yuji's expression suddenly became serious. He said in a deep voice, Changsheng, my teacher wants to tell you something important. Ye Changsheng immediately sat upright and listened carefully. Chu Yuji said slowly, I'm ready to join the war against the demon clan again. I have a feeling that this long-lasting war is about to end, and it's time for you to start taking action. Ye Changsheng replied respectfully, disciple, follow the master's arrangements. Chu Yuji continued, however, I want to emphasize one point. You must try your best to participate in the battle against the demon clan. Only by making great achievements in this kind of battle can you obtain the greatest benefits after the war. Do you understand? Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly. Disciple understands and will do his best. Chu Yuji smiled with satisfaction and then said, well, my teacher came here mainly to answer your question so as not to delay your cultivation progress. Now that the purpose has been achieved, it is time for me to return to the front line. When Ye Changsheng heard this, he felt reluctant to give up, but he also knew that the overall situation was the most important thing. He said respectfully, disciple, I wish master a successful victory and a safe return. Chu Yuji laughed loudly. Don't worry, I'm confident in my own strength. Just practice with peace of mind and prepare for the upcoming war. After saying that, Chu Yuji's figure flashed and disappeared instantly, leaving only a wisp of breeze blowing across Ye Changsheng's face. Ye Changsheng stood there for a long time, until nightfall. He reluctantly left Qingquan Pavilion. One afternoon 2 months later, Ye Changsheng was practicing when he suddenly felt a familiar aura. He immediately stood up and headed for the mountain gate. As expected, his second senior brother Lei Wenchang was coming in the air. Second senior brother, Ye Changsheng shouted in surprise. After Lei Wenchang landed, he patted Ye Changsheng on the shoulder. Little junior brother, how are you? The came to the hall and sat down to chat. Lei Wenchang also mentioned the fact that his master Chu Yuji had advanced to the Yuanshan level, and he was amazed at it. After chatting for a long time, Lei Wenchang suddenly smiled mysteriously, took out a gourd from the storage bag, and handed it to Ye Changsheng. This is a gift that I prepared for you. Ye Changsheng took the gourd and immediately felt the powerful aura contained in it. He couldn't help but exclaimed, is this a top level magic weapon of the 4th level, Lei? Wenchang nodded and said, yes, this is a heaven swallowing gourd. I refined many precious treasures into it and engraved a powerful formation. It can be said that this is one of the most powerful magic weapons I have ever refined. Ye Changsheng was so excited that he couldn't speak and bowed to his second senior brother repeatedly to express his gratitude. Lei Wenchang smiled and said, you and I are brothers. There is no need to do this. It's just that this magic weapon is powerful. You must use it well and don't let me down. Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly. Disciple will use it carefully and will never let down the love of the second senior brother. Chapter 407 Accepting the Mission. Ye Changsheng was extremely grateful and carefully put away the heaven swallowing gourd. He thought for a moment, took out 6 crystal clear fruits from the storage bag and handed them to Lei Wenchang respectfully. Second senior brother, these are 3 Yunmeng white pears and 3 immortal root fruits. This is a little gift from my junior brother. I hope you will not refuse it, Lei. Wenchang's eyes lit up and he smiled. Good boy, you actually have such a rare spiritual fruit. Since it is your intention, I will not refuse it, as he said. He took the spiritual fruit and carefully put it away. In the next 3 months, Lei Wenchang accompanied Ye Changsheng in his practice and guided him in his difficulties in practice. During this period, Ye Changsheng's cultivation has made considerable progress. 3 months later, Lei Wenchang said goodbye and left, and Ye Changsheng reluctantly said goodbye to his second senior brother after seeing Lei Wenchang off. Ye Changsheng suddenly remembered the instructions of his master Chu Yuji. He thought to himself, I have been promoted to the Dao court for 40 years. The Dao and Zeuxan alliance must recruit me and several ladies again. Instead of waiting passively, it is better to take the initiative and choose the right task. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng decided to contact Su Fangyuan, an old friend he met in the Jingguan fortress. Su Fangyuan is not only a core disciple of Linxiao sect, the core sect of the Dao and Zeuxan alliance, but also the grandson of the second elder of Linxiao sect. He is quite important in Linxiao sect and even the entire Dao and Zeuxan alliance. With his help, arranging tasks should not be a problem. After making up his mind, Ye Changsheng simply packed up and set off for Linxiao sect. Along the way, he crossed many mountains and rivers, flew over vast plains, and finally arrived at the gate of Linxiao sect after a month of long journey. At the gate, Ye Changsheng reported his name, and soon a disciple came to lead the way. Not long after, Su Fangyuan came out to greet him in person and warmly welcomed Ye Changsheng into the door. After exchanging pleasantries, the two came to a quiet courtyard. Su Fangyuan personally brewed tea and said with a smile, Brother Ye, how are you? I wonder what you are doing this time. Ye Changsheng was not polite and directly stated his purpose. Brother Su, to be honest, I intend to mobilize the whole clan to participate in the war against the demon clan. I came to ask for your help and hope to arrange a task of conquering citizen territories. Su Fangyuan heard this, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then smiled and said, Brother Ye is indeed well informed and has a keen sense of smell. To be honest, the war situation has indeed reached the time for a major counterattack. Participating in the siege of citizen territories can indeed gain the greatest benefits after the war. He pondered for a moment and continued, how about this? You stay in Linxiao sect for half a month. I need time to arrange and try to give you the most suitable task. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed and quickly stood up to thank. Su Fangyuan waved his hand and asked the servants to arrange a place for Ye Changsheng. Half a month later, Su Fangyuan brought a conscription token and handed it to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng carefully checked and saw that the token recorded the location and time of the mission in detail. Arrive at the western border of Dakin Zeuxan realm in 5 years. Join forces with the forces of Dao and Zeuxan realm and attack the territory of the demon clan. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed and thanked Su Fangyuan again and again. Su Fangyuan smiled and said, Brother Ye, you are welcome. Since you and I are friends, we should help each other. But this mission is extremely dangerous. I hope Brother Ye will be more careful. Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly, said goodbye to Su Fangyuan, and set off to return to Qinghu Peak. Along the way, He was excited and nervous, looking forward to making achievements on the battlefield, but also worried about the dangers he was about to face. After a month of long journey, Ye Changsheng finally returned to King Hu Peak Point. After returning to King Hu Peak, Ye Changsheng immediately began to prepare to participate in the war against the demon clan. He first needed to count the number of people in the Ye family who could fight. In addition to the masters of King Hu Peak, he also planned to mobilize the cultivators of King's Hu Peak to join the war. However, he had not paid attention to the situation of King's Hu Peak for a long time, so he decided to learn about the recent situation of King's Hu Peak first. Ye Changsheng called the maid and ordered, "Go and call Ye Jialang and tell him that I have something important to discuss." The maid took the order and left. Not long after, Ye Jialang hurried over. He saluted respectfully to Ye Changsheng and said, "Patriarch, what do you want to tell me?" Ye Changsheng looked at Ye Jialang and nodded secretly in his heart. With his support over the years, Ye Jialang is now a cultivator of the 5th level of Zifu, and his strength has greatly increased. Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "Elder Jialang, I haven't asked about the situation of King's Hu Peak for a long time. Now please give me a detailed report." Ye Jialang bowed and replied, "Yes, clan leader." He cleared his throat and began to report. Since the head of the family achieved the Purple Mansion, our family has been promoted to the Purple Mansion family and started large-scale expansion. We have annexed many spiritual lands that were broken by the demons. Now we have 8 3rd-level spiritual lands, 115 2nd-level spiritual lands, and more than 800 1st-level spiritual lands. When Ye Changsheng heard this, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, and he motioned Ye Jialang to continue. Ye Jialang continued, "Thanks to your decision to encourage childbirth on a large scale decades ago, the number of cultivators in our family has also increased significantly. Not counting King Hu Peak, there are now 9 Purple Mansion cultivators, more than 700 foundation building cultivators, and more than 8,000 key refining cultivators in the family." Ye Changsheng nodded in satisfaction, and Ye Jialang continued to report, "In addition, our family also owns more than 500 acres of 3rd-level spiritual fields, more than 8,000 acres of 2nd-level spiritual fields, and more than 30,000 acres of 1st-level spiritual fields. In terms of spiritual stone mines, we have more than 20 2nd-level spiritual stone mines, and more than 70 1st-level spiritual stone mines. There are also many spiritual gold veins, including 3 3rd-level, more than 50 2nd-level, and more than 300 1st-level. Ye Jialang paused for a moment and added, "In addition, we have also developed some talisman industries, with thousands of shops and thousands of commercial routes for flying beasts of burden." After listening to the report, Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction and praised, "Not bad, very good. In the years when I was not in charge, the family can have the current atmosphere, thanks to your good management." Ye Jialang hurriedly said modestly, "Patriarch, you are too kind. This is the result of your wise decision. I'm just following your instructions." Ye Changsheng smiled, then his expression turned serious, and began to tell Ye Jialang about the battle with the demon clan and the benefits of participating in the siege. Ye Jialang was very excited and nodded repeatedly, saying, "The clan leader is wise. This is indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Our family must participate vigorously." Ye Changsheng looked at Ye Jialang with satisfaction and said, "Yes, you can see the interests involved. We have less than 5 years to prepare. Go down and make arrangements. I plan to bring 5 Purple Mansion cultivators from King's Hu Peak and more foundation building cultivators. 600 should be appropriate. As for key refining cultivators, they are too easy to be injured or killed, so we won't bring them. If we can accumulate enough merits in this war, the family can obtain more sacred mountains and sacred lands." Chapter 408 Xiangang Large Purchase. Ye Jialang became more and more excited after hearing this, and said excitedly, "Don't worry, clan leader, I will make arrangements right away. I guarantee that within 5 years, all the monks participating in the war will be in the best condition." Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "Very good, go ahead. Remember to keep it a secret, and don't let the news leak out." Ye Long left in response, and Ye Changsheng looked at his back, secretly calculating the gains and losses of this action point. He knew that this would be an important opportunity for the Ye family to rise, and he must not miss it. After Ye Long left happily, Ye Changsheng sat alone in the study, thinking about future strategies. However, one morning just 3 months later, his plans were interrupted by the arrival of an uninvited guest. Clan leader, Zhao Tingfang would like to see you, the maid reported softly. Ye Changsheng was startled for a moment, then suddenly realized, oh, it's Master Mirren King. Please invite him in quickly. Not long after, an immortal old man walked into the study. Ye Changsheng stood up and greeted him. Master Zhao, you are well, Zhao. Tingfang smiled and nodded. Chief Ye, long time no see. I took the liberty to come here this time to return a favor. As he spoke, he took out an exquisite jade box from his sleeve and opened it gently. A strong aura instantly filled the entire room. Is this the Holy Spirit fruit? Ye Changsheng said in surprise. Zhao Tingfang nodded. Yes. This 4th level high grade spiritual fruit can cure curses of 4th level and below. It can be regarded as repaying the kindness of the last fairy root fruit. Ye Changsheng felt happy. As we all know, curses are one of the most difficult attack spells in the world of immortality. A treasure that can prevent curses is priceless. Master Zhao is too polite. Ye Changsheng happily took the jade box. How about staying here for a few days, Zhao? Tingfang readily agreed. Ye Changsheng immediately ordered the maid, go and ask madam to come over. Her master is here to visit. Mirren King came over after hearing the news and was extremely happy to see the master and apprentice. With Ye Changsheng's kind invitation, Zhao Tingfang stayed at King Hu Peak for half a month before reluctantly leaving. After bidding farewell to Zhao Tingfang, Ye Changsheng began to prepare for the upcoming war against the demon clan. First, he decided to make full use of the 5th level fairy dew in his hand. After this period of accumulation, he already has 31 drops of 5th level fairy dew, and he plans to use 30 drops this time. Fully make your wallet bulge. Coming to the sacred tree space, Ye Changsheng took out 5 precious spiritual fruits, the 5th level top grade Shenlin fruit, the jade spirit fruit, the 5th level top grade white dragon fruit, the substitute fruit, and the dream Kayan Kyu fruit. These are all rare treasures that he had exchanged in Lanyu City before. Ye Changsheng carefully planted each spiritual fruit on the vacant spiritual land. Then, holding his breath and concentrating, he put a drop of 5th level fairy dew on each seedling. In an instant, a miracle happened. The 5 spiritual fruit trees grew at a speed visible to the naked eye and soon became lush and lush. Each tree bore 9 plump fruits, which shone brightly and exuded rich aura. Ye Changsheng was ecstatic and continued to repeat the process. He gave birth to 6 Shenlin fruit trees, 6 white dragon fruit trees, 6 substitute fruit trees, 6 Yuling fruit trees, and 6 great dream Kayan Kyu fruit trees. In the end, Ye Changsheng harvested 49 of each spiritual fruit. He carefully kept one as a seed and put the rest into carefully prepared jade boxes. 145th level spiritual fruits. This is an astonishing amount of wealth. Ye Changsheng murmured to himself, his eyes shining with excitement. Ye Changsheng came to the heavenly palace with great expectations. He went straight to the 4th floor from the bottom of the heavenly palace and found the shop where the 5th level spiritual fruit was sold last time. Opening the store door, Ye Changsheng smelled the familiar fragrance of spiritual fruit. The shopkeeper recognized this distinguished guest at a glance and quickly stood up to greet him. Young master, please come and be well. Ye Changhe smiled slightly, took out 5 exquisite jade boxes from the storage bag, opened them one by one, and placed the 5 spiritual fruits on the counter one by one. The shopkeeper's eyes suddenly widened and he exclaimed, Is this the 5th level top grade Shenlin fruit, jade spirit fruit, and the 5th grade top grade white dragon fruit, substitute fruit, and Damankayan Kyu fruit? Master, what are you doing? Where did you get so many rare spiritual fruits? Ye Changsheng smiled mysteriously. I can't say this, but shopkeeper, can you guess how many of each spiritual fruit I have? The shopkeeper carefully looked at the spiritual fruits in the jade box and carefully guessed. According to the size of the jade box, there are at least 10 of each kind. Right, Ye Changsheng shook his head and said with a smile, "Shopkeeper, you guessed wrong. I have 48 of each spiritual fruit." "What the?" shopkeeper exclaimed, almost losing his balance. 48. This is simply an astronomical number." Seeing the shopkeeper's shocked look, Ye Changsheng felt secretly happy. He said calmly, "I wonder if the shopkeeper is interested in buying them all." The shopkeeper took a deep breath and tried to calm down his excitement. "Sir, please wait a moment. Let me report to my employer first." After a while, the shopkeeper came back with a humble smile on his face. "Sir, our boss is here to discuss with you personally." I saw an extraordinary middle-aged man walking out of the inner hall and saluting Ye Changsheng. "My surname is Zhao, and I'm the owner of this shop. I have heard about the name of the young master for a long time, but when I saw him today, he is indeed worthy of his reputation." Ye Changsheng returned the courtesy and said, "Boss Zhao, you're welcome. I wonder what price you plan to pay for these spiritual fruits." "Boss." Zhao pondered for a moment and said, "According to the market price, each Shenlin fruit should be around 35 million high-grade spirit stones, jade spirit fruit 45 million, white dragon fruit 65 million, substitute fruit 85 million, and great dream thousand autumn fruit 110 million. However, considering the huge quantity, we can give you a preferential price." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly. "Boss Zhao, your price is a bit low. My suggestion is, Shenlin fruit 40 million high-grade spirit stones per piece, jade spirit fruit 50 million, white dragon fruit 70 million, substitute fruit 90 million, and great dream thousand autumn fruit 120 million. What do you think, boss?" Zhao's eyes flashed with surprise, and then he smiled and said, "Young master is really smart. This price is still a bit high for us. However, the spirit fruits you gave are indeed very scarce in the market. In order to attract customers, our store will accept the price you proposed." Ye Changsheng was overjoyed and nodded. "Okay." The two sides quickly reached an agreement point. Boss Zhao personally supervised the delivery of 17.76 billion high-grade spirit stones to Ye Changsheng point. With this huge sum of money, plus the 1.34 billion high-grade spirit stones he had accumulated before, Ye Changsheng's wealth suddenly soared to 19.1 billion high-grade spirit stones. He was secretly happy and prepared for the upcoming large purchase point. After leaving the spirit fruit shop, Ye Changsheng went straight to the third to last floor of the Heavenly Palace point. There are all kinds of high-end shops here, including shops selling rare magic weapons. Ye Changsheng quickly found the largest magic weapon shop. Chapter 409, 4th level ancient treasure. Pushing open the door and entering, he said directly, "I want to see the best 4th level ancient treasure in your store." Seeing Ye Changsheng's extraordinary temperament, the shopkeeper immediately cheered up and said respectfully, "Sir, wait a moment, I'll get it right away." After a while, the shopkeeper brought 4 ancient treasures and placed them in front of Ye Changsheng respectfully. "Sir, please see, these 4 are the treasures of our store." Ye Changsheng looked at these 4 magic weapons carefully. I saw a blue flying sword with faint cloud patterns flowing on the sword, a golden shield with complex runes engraved on it, an ancient bow that was completely black and wrapped with mysterious patterns. There is a simple copper bell with lifelike dragon and phoenix patterns carved on its body. The shopkeeper introduced. These 4 magic weapons are U-0027. King Iron Sword U-0027, U-0027 Diamond Shield U-0027, U-0027 Zuanshan Bow U-0027 and U-0027 Dragon Phoenix Bell U-0027. Each one is a top level 4th level ancient treasure with extraordinary power. Ye Changsheng carefully felt the aura of each magic weapon, and finally selected King Iron Sword, Diamond Shield and Zuanshan Bow. "I want these 3 pieces. How many spiritual stones are there?" Ye Changsheng asked. The shopkeeper smiled and replied, "The King Iron Sword has 40 million high-grade spiritual stones, the Diamond Shield has 60 million high-grade spiritual stones, and the Zuanshan Bow has 80 million high-grade spiritual stones. In addition, the Zuanshan Bow is equipped with 20 special ancient arrows. It's included in the price. Ye Changsheng nodded and happily paid the spirit stone point. He was overjoyed to get 3 of his favorite magic weapons next. Ye Changsheng came to the store selling battleships. This was the same store where he last bought a battleship point. When the shop owner saw Ye Changsheng, his eyes suddenly lit up. "Welcome. Are you here to see the new battleship today?" Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "That's right. I want to buy 4 4th tier high grade battleships this time." The shop owner was overjoyed when he heard this. "Young master is really a generous person. Our latest U-00027 Galaxy U-00027 4th tier high grade battleship is priced at 6 million high grade spiritual stones each. 4 ships are exactly 24 million high grade spiritual stones." Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "Okay, we need 4 U-00027s in U-00027 soon." The transaction was completed. The shop owner immediately arranged for his men to prepare the battleship and at the same time enthusiastically introduced the features of the Galaxy to Ye Changsheng. This battleship adopts the latest spiritual propulsion system, which is 30% faster than battleships of the same class. The defense has also been greatly improved, and it is also equipped with 36 level 4 high-grade spiritual cannons. After listening to the introduction, Ye Changsheng asked again, "Where are the 3rd tier high-grade battleships? Do you have any recommendations?" The shop owner introduced, "We have the 3rd level high-grade U-00027 Fihang. Each ship sells for 600,000 high-grade spiritual stones. It is fast, has good maneuverability, and is suitable for small-scale combat." Ye Changsheng thought for a moment and said, "Okay, bring me 20 U-00027 Fihang U-00027. The shop owner was overjoyed. "Young master is really brave." The total price of 20 U-00027 Fihang U-00027 is 12 million high-grade spiritual stones. The transaction was quickly completed. Ye Changsheng put the battleship into his storage bag and left the store with satisfaction. Next, Ye Changsheng came to a formation shop called Zuanshan Formation Pavilion. The store has a simple appearance, with an antique plaque hanging at the door. Ye Changsheng walked into the store and asked about the 4th level high-grade formation point. The shopkeeper was a grey-haired old man. Seeing Ye Changsheng's extraordinary temperament, he immediately received him personally. The old man introduced, "For the 4th level high-grade formations, our store has 3 defensive formations and 6 attack formations. The defensive formations include U-00027 Zuanwu Shield Formation, U-00027, U-00027 Jiagang Bagwa Formation, U-00027 and U-00027 Wanren Jinshan Formation, U-00027. The attack formation's other formation has U-00275 Thunderstrike Formation, U-00027, U-00027 Flame Burning Sky Formation, U-00027, U-00027 Thousand Miles of Ice Formation, U-00027. U-00027 Hurricane Strangulation Formation, U-00027, U-00027 Earth Splitting and Landslide Formation, U-00027 and U-00027 Phantom Disappearance Formation, U-00027. The old man explained the characteristics of each formation in detail. The Zuanwu Shield Formation has the strongest defense and can withstand a full blow from monks of the same level. The 9 Palaces and Bagwa Formation is unpredictable and can confuse the enemy. The Wanren Jinshan Formation not only has strong defense, but can also rebound some attacks among the attack formations. The 5 Thunder Crash Formation is extremely powerful and can release 5 thunderbolts instantly. The Fire Burning Sky Formation has ferocious firepower and can burn hundreds of miles in radius. The Ice 10,000 Miles Formation can freeze the enemy's movements, and the Hurricane Strangulation Formation form a huge tornado and tear apart everything. The Earth Cracking and Landslide Formation can cause earthquakes and destroy enemy formations. The Phantom Confusion Formation can create countless phantoms to confuse the enemy. After listening to the introduction carefully, Ye Changsheng chose the Zuanwu shield array with the strongest defense and purchased all 6 attack arrays. The old man smiled and said, young master is so brave. U-0,027 Zuanwu shield array U-0,027 sells for 20 million high grade spiritual stones, and the 6 attack formations total 150 million high grade spiritual stones. Ye Changsheng happily paid the spirit stone and put away the formation drawings and formation flags. After leaving the formation shop, Ye Changsheng came to a talisman shop called 5 Element Talisman Pavilion. The store is filled with aroma and the walls are covered with various talismans. Ye Changsheng asked the shopkeeper about the 4th level high grade attack talisman. The shop owner was a middle-aged woman. Upon hearing this, she immediately took out 5 talismans. These are the 5 element attack talismans that our shop has recently refined. They are U-0,027 Blazing Sun Burning Heaven Talisman, U-0,027, U-0,027 Raging Wave Devouring Talisman, U-0,027, U-0,027 Wild Wind Strangling Talisman, U-0,027. U-0,027 Mountain Collapse Talisman, U-0,027 and U-0,027 Thunderbolt Talisman, U-0,027. Each one is priced at 40,000 top grade spirit stones. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, okay, give me 40 of each. The shop owner prepared the talismans with surprise and introduced them at the same time. These talismans are powerful. After activation, they can release the corresponding 5 element power and cause great damage to the enemy. Then, Ye Changsheng asked for a 3rd grade top grade attack talisman. The shopkeeper took out 5 kinds of talismans. This is U-0,027 Fire Dragon Roaring Talisman, U-0,027, U-0,027. Water Dragon Tumbling Talisman, U-0,027, U-0,027 Wood Dragon Entangling Talisman, U-0,027, U-0,027 Earth Dragon Fury Talisman, U-0,027 and U-0,027 Gold Dragon Claw Talisman, U-0,027, each priced at 4,000 high grade spirit stones. Ye Changsheng said, give me 2,000 of each. The shopkeeper was surprised by Ye Changsheng's generosity and quickly prepared the talismans. Finally, Ye Changsheng bought 200 pieces of the 4th level high grade defense talisman Big Vajra talisman, each for 50,000 high grade spirit stones, and 10,000 pieces of the 3rd level high grade defense talisman Small Vajra talisman, each for 6,000 high grade spirit stones. At the time of settlement, Ye Changsheng spent a total of 118 million high grade spirit stones in the talisman shop. The shop owner said gratefully, thank you for your patronage, young master. This is a special talisman bag made by our shop. It can better preserve talismans. Just consider it a gift. Ye Changsheng thanked him and accepted it, and carefully put away all the talismans. Left the talisman shop. After leaving the talisman shop, Ye Changsheng decided to go to the 3rd to last floor of the Heavenly Palace to find the 3rd level elixir pavilion. He strolled on the bustling streets. His eyes swept across the signs of one store after another. Finally, he chose the largest and most gorgeously decorated elixir shop. Pushing the door open and walking in, the rich elixir fragrance hit him in the face. Chapter 410 Purple Evil Thunder. There are a wide variety of elixirs on display in the store. Ye Changsheng walked to the counter and asked the shopkeeper, do you have the 3rd level middle grade Lingdan and the 3rd order high grade Lingdan? The shop owner was an old man with a kind face. Hearing this, he smiled and said, these 2 elixirs are the signatures of my shop. I wonder how many you need, sir. Ye Changsheng thought for a while and said, I want 500 pieces each. The old man raised his eyebrows in surprise, then smiled and said, okay, sir. Wait a moment. With that said, he turned around to prepare the elixir. After a while, the old man brought 2 exquisite jade bottles and introduced Lingdan, 1,200 high grade spiritual stones, and Lingdan, 1,200 high grade spiritual stones. These 2 pills are both I make it myself, and the quality is absolutely superb. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, okay, I want them all. He took out a storage bag and said, there are 2.2 million high grade spiritual stones in it. Please accept it. The old man took the storage bag, carefully counted it, and handed the 2 jade bottles to Ye Changsheng with satisfaction, and presented a beautiful elixir bag as a gift. This is the store's intention. I hope you will come again next time. After leaving the elixir store, Ye Changsheng came to the magic weapon shop on the 3rd level. He pushed the door open and walked in. There were all kinds of magic weapons on display in the store. Ye Changsheng walked to the counter and asked the shopkeeper, "Do you have a 3rd level positioning compass?" The shop owner was a middle-aged man. He nodded and said, "Yes, sir. How many do you need?" Ye Changsheng thought for a while and said, "Give me 200. The shopkeeper's eyes widened in surprise, and then he smiled and said, "Okay, sir. Wait a moment." With that said, he turned around to prepare the magic weapon. After a while, the shopkeeper brought a large box with 200 positioning compasses neatly placed inside. He introduced each 50,000 high-grade spiritual stones, a total of 10 million high-grade spiritual stones. These compasses are the latest ones refined by our shop, and are very accurate. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "Okay, I want them all." He took out a storage bag and said, "There are 10 million high-grade spiritual stones in it. Please accept it." The shop owner took the ring, and after carefully counting it, he handed the box to Ye Changsheng with satisfaction, and presented him with a space bag. This is the shop's intention. I hope you will come again next time. Then, Ye Changsheng returned to the 4th to last floor of the Heavenly Palace, and came to a magic weapon shop. He asked the shopkeeper, "Is there a 5th level one-time magic weapon like the Divine Crystal Bomb?" The shopkeeper was an old man. His eyes lit up when he heard this, and he said, "Young master is so courageous. I happen to have a kind of purple evil thunder here, which is the top of the 5th level, and has great power." As he spoke, the old man took out an exquisite box with 8 purple thunder beads inside. He introduced, "Once this purple evil thunder is detonated, everything within 100 miles will be turned into powder. The price is 8 million for a high-grade spiritual stone." Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up and he said, "Okay, I want them all. Are there more?" The old man shook his head and sighed, "It's a pity that there are no more. It is extremely difficult to refine this kind of 5th level magic weapon. I'm afraid there are only so many left in the entire Xianggang." Ye Changsheng nodded to express his understanding, and then took out a storage bag. "There are 64 million high-grade spiritual stones in it. Please accept it." The old man took the ring, carefully counted it, and handed the box to Ye Changsheng with satisfaction, and presented him with a special protective box. This can better preserve the purple evil thunder, which is the shop's wish. Finally, Ye Changsheng came to a shop selling puppets. He explained his purpose to the shopkeeper, and wanted to buy a 5th level high quality battle puppet. The shop owner was a burly middle-aged man. His eyes lit up when he heard this and he said, "I happen to have 3 kinds of 5th level high grade combat puppets here. Please take a look." With that said, the shop owner took Ye Changsheng to the backyard of the shop, where 3 tall puppets stood. The shop owner pointed to the first puppet and introduced, "This is the U-0,027 King Khan Demon Breaking Puppet U-0,027. It uses 10,000 years of black iron as its bones and 9-day divine gold as its skin. It has carved countless defensive formations. It can withstand most 5th level ones. The attack of the magic weapon can even temporarily resist the attack of the 6th level magic weapon. In terms of attack, its fist contains the power to destroy the world, and can smash a hill with one punch." Pointing to the second puppet, the shop owner continued, "This is U-0,027 armed guanine puppet U-0,027. It has 1,000 arms, and each arm can cast different spells. From 5-element escape technique to various attack spells, everything is available. Its fighting style is changeable and elusive, making it a good player in group battles." Finally, the shop owner pointed to the third puppet and said, "This is U-0,027 Nine Heavens Dragon Puppet U-0,027. It can fly freely in the sky, and is as fast as lightning. Its mouth can eject 9 types of dragon breath with different attributes, each of which it is comparable to the top level 5 spells. In addition, its whole body is covered with hard dragon scales, and its defense power is amazing." Ye Changsheng looked at the 3 puppets carefully and finally chose the 9 heavens dragon puppet. The shop owner smiled and said, young master has good judgment. This puppet is indeed the strongest among the 3. However, it is also the most expensive, costing 300 million high-grade spiritual stones. Hearing this price, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but be speechless. This was his first time buying such an expensive item. But thinking of the powerful strength of this puppet, he still paid the money happily. The shopkeeper took the storage bag, carefully checked it, and handed the puppet control jade slip to Ye Changsheng with satisfaction, and explained in detail how to use the puppet. When leaving the puppet shop, Ye Changsheng secretly calculated that he spent a total of nearly 1 billion high-grade spiritual stones on this shopping trip. Although the cost was huge, he thought that these items would be of great use in future wars, so he felt that the investment was worth it. After Ye Changsheng left the puppet shop, he secretly calculated the cost of this shopping trip. Although the expenditure of nearly 1 billion high-quality spirit stones made him feel a little painful, he felt that it was worth it. When he thought about the role these treasures could play in future wars, Ye Changsheng quickly left the heavenly palace and returned to the real world. Ye Changsheng inspected the preparations of the Ye family again. Everyone was very well prepared, and Ye Changsheng was very satisfied. Ye Changsheng walked around King Hu Peak and suddenly thought of his eldest son Ye Changsheng. He is already 66 years old this year, and he is already a standard old man in the secular world. This expedition may take decades, and I should go and take a look at it now, otherwise I will not have many times to see it in the future. He decided to go to Ye's immortal city to take a look. Controlling the magic power, Ye Changsheng soon arrived at Ye's immortal city. Standing in front of Ye Changsheng's mansion, he revealed his identity to the warrior guarding the door. The warrior was shocked when he heard this and hurried in to pass the message. After a while, the door of the mansion opened, and Ye Changsheng led his family of several hundred people to kneel and welcome Ye Changsheng. Everyone, get up, Ye Changsheng said with a smile, and then walked into the central hall. Chapter 411. A house full of children and grandchildren. After sitting down, Ye Changsheng looked at his eldest son carefully. I saw that Ye Changsheng's temples were grey and his face was covered with wrinkles. Even with the help of magical elixirs, the traces of time are still clearly visible. Ye Changsheng couldn't help but lament the short lifespan of mortals. How have these years been, Ye Changsheng asked gently. Ye Changsheng replied respectfully, thanks to my father, everything is fine. Ye Changsheng nodded and comforted him. A few more words after a while, he said, you have a family full of children and grandchildren, right? Call them all here, I want to meet them. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this, and immediately ordered his servants to summon all his descendants to the hall. After a while, more than 200 people were kneeling in the hall. Ye Changsheng introduced them one by one. Father, these are your 38 grandsons and more than 200 great-grandchildren. After hearing this, Ye Changsheng was surprised and relieved. He didn't expect that one of his sons could produce so many offspring. Very good. Ye Changsheng smiled and said, I'm very happy to see your children and grandchildren prospering and spreading branches and leaves for me. I will be rewarded. Saying that, Ye Changsheng took out 300,000 spirit stones and gave them to Ye Changsheng and ordered, every descendant here will be given 100 spirit stones, and each wife and concubine will also be given 100 spirit stones. The rest will go to you. After hearing this, everyone kowtowed and thanked him. Ye Changsheng also said some words of encouragement to his many grandchildren and great-grandchildren, encouraging them to work hard in cultivation and bring glory to the family. After half an hour, everyone reluctantly left. After everyone left, Ye Changsheng asked again, you have so many descendants, how many of them have spiritual roots? Ye Changsheng replied, I gave birth to a son with 2 spiritual roots, and 4 grandsons with 3 spiritual roots and 4 spiritual roots. They are all currently practicing in the fairy city. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard that he had a grandson with 2 spiritual roots. He knew that dual spiritual roots were considered a rare talent in the world of immortality. Okay, Ye Changsheng said happily, this child can inherit your legacy. I will acquire a large piece of spiritual land in the near future, and I can promise to give this child with dual spiritual roots a second level spiritual land. This spiritual land will become yours. The ancestral spiritual land of this line enables your lineage to produce talents in large numbers. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and knelt down to thank him again. Ye Changsheng helped him up and warned, I will soon lead my family's monks to conquer the demon clan. I'm here to see you this time. You should take good care of yourself. After saying that, Ye Changsheng stood up and prepared to leave. Ye Changsheng and his whole family knelt down to see him off again. Looking at the large family in front of him, Ye Changsheng's heart was filled with warmth. He knew that it was to protect these future generations that he had to fight bravely to open up territory for the human race. Taking one last look at Ye Changsheng, Ye Changsheng used his magic power to fly away from the Ye family fairy city and flew towards the distance. Behind him, Ye Changsheng and his whole family watched his back reluctantly until they could no longer see him. After Ye Changsheng left the Ye family fairy city, he couldn't help but think of the four ladies Lin Zero, Liu Ruan, Miranking and Suyao. Although they have advanced to the Taoist realm, they do not yet have luxurious cars like the Beihua ferry boat like Shen Yufeng, King Lion Hang, Chu Yunnan and Hua Jiayu. Ye Changsheng once promised them that he would equip them with cars of the same level. Now that he is about to go on an expedition against the monster clan, Ye Changsheng fully understands the importance of having such a high-end vehicle and powerful monster. It can not only provide powerful combat support, but also protect their safety in critical moments. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng decided to take action immediately. He took out the jade communication talisman with his second senior brother Lei Wenchang and gently injected a ray of spiritual consciousness into it. Soon, the jade talisman lit up, and Lei Wenchang's voice came, Junior brother, what's the matter? Ye Changsheng briefly explained the situation and asked his second senior brother to help find a store that sold this kind of car and pay the deposit on his behalf. Lei Wenchang readily agreed and said he would personally select the best. 1.3 months later, good news came from Lei Wenchang. He found a shop specializing in the production of high-end vehicles in a country in the middle of the Longnan Immortal realm. This shop has an excellent reputation and provides top-notch cars to major forces all year round. Lei Wenchang has paid a deposit of 200 million spirit stones, and the store promised to deliver the car to the Dazao Immortal realm as soon as possible. One morning half a year later, a huge ship suddenly appeared above Qinghu Peak. It was a huge flying boat with a pale golden color all over its body, inlaid with various colored gems, shining brightly in the sunlight. At the front of the airship are four majestic four-winged white tigers, which pull the airship down slowly. 8 middle-aged monks stepped off the flying boat, and all of their auras were of the Taoist realm. The leading monk stepped forward and saluted Ye Changsheng and said, Dear guest, the U-0027 Beihua Xian's Hao U-0027 you ordered has been delivered. This vehicle is a 4th level high-grade magic weapon, and the four-winged white tigers are also 4th order high-grade monsters. Beast. The remaining balance totals 2.5 billion spiritual stones. Please accept it and settle it. Ye Changsheng carefully checked various functions of Beihua Xian's Hao and found that it not only met the requirements, but even exceeded expectations in some aspects. He nodded with satisfaction, then took out 2.5 billion spirit stones and handed them to the leading Taoist monk. The monk took the spirit stone and thanked him again. Thank you for your patronage. This Beihua Xian's Hao can not only be used as a vehicle, but can also exert powerful offensive and defensive capabilities in battle. The four-winged white tigers are air fighting partners. I believe it will help you win in the upcoming battle. Ye Changsheng thanked the other party and watched them leave in the flying boat. Then, he immediately summoned four ladies, Lin Zero, Liu Ruan, Miranking and Suyao. When the four beauties saw this gorgeous flower boat, they were all pleasantly surprised. Ye Changsheng smiled and handed them the jade talismans that controlled the four-headed and four-winged white tigers respectively, and explained in detail how to use the Beihua Xian's Hao. Lin Zero stroked the white tiger's soft hair and said movidly, Husband, you are always so considerate. With this 100-flower sky boat, we can play a greater role on the battlefield. Liu Ruyan excitedly looked at the exquisite interior decoration of the Beihua Tao and exclaimed, "This is simply a moving palace. Husband, you are so generous, Murang. King can't wait to try to control the white tiger." Her eyes are shining with excitement. "With these divine horses, our mobility on the battlefield will be greatly improved." So, Yurao gently stroked the outer wall of the Beihua skyboat, feeling the powerful magic power contained in it, and said with a smile, "This skyboat is not only beautiful, but also a powerful magic weapon. Husband, with it, we will be able to better protect ourselves on the battlefield. I can also share your worries." Seeing the four ladies jumping for joy, Ye Changsheng's heart was filled with warmth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412 Departure. Time flies, and 3.5 years have passed in the blink of an eye. The day for the Ye family to go to war has finally arrived. Because it will take another half a year to get from Qinghu Peak to the border of Dakan where they will gather. Ye Changsheng decided to set off in advance. On this day, the Ye family was busy. Ye Changsheng not only planned to lead all the Ye family members except Qinghu Peak, but also planned to take all the wives, sons and guests to go to war together in the morning. Ye Changsheng gathered everyone and began to count the number of people and their cultivation point. First of all, the wives, Shen Yufeng, King Lian Hong, Chu Yunyan, Hua Jiayu, Lin Ziruo, Liu Ruan, Miranking and Su Yurao, are still at the first level of Daoting cultivation. They all have jade-like faces and extraordinary temperaments. Li Qian, Zhao Weina, Li Ziruo, Zhao Linga, Sun Yurao, Wang Yuan, and Chen Miaoling are all at the 5th level of Zifu, and their cultivation has improved a lot. Lu Wan has even reached the 8th level of Zifu, and the sisters Zhang Yun and Zhang Fei are already at the 9th level of Zifu, which is impressive. The most amazing thing is Zhu Qingxin, who had advanced to the 1st level of Daoting a few years ago, and has the potential to catch up. Then there are the statistics of the sun's cultivation. Ye Shengai, who stands out among the brothers with the 8th level of Purple Mansion cultivation, becoming the best among the brothers. Ye Shengs and Ye Shengai, who are both the 2nd level of Purple Mansion cultivation, following closely behind. Ye Shengsun, Ye Shenghao and Ye Shengfeng are all the 1st level of Purple Mansion cultivation. Although they are still young, they have shown extraordinary talent. Ye Shengai, who has even reached the 4th level of Purple Mansion, which is amazing. Ye Shengpan and Ye Shengqian are both the 2nd level of Purple Mansion cultivation, and the two brothers are equally strong. Although Ye Shengru and Ye Shenglan are the youngest, they have also reached the 1st level of Purple Mansion cultivation, showing amazing potential. Although the cultivation of the other sons is slightly lower, they have also performed well. Ye Shenglin has the 6th level of foundation building. Ye Shengjin has the 7th level of foundation building. Ye Shengtang has the 2nd level of Purple Palace. Ye Shenglan has the 4th level of foundation building. Ye Shengjin has the 5th level of foundation building. Ye Shengsh has the 7th level of foundation building. And Ye Shenggan has the 3rd level of Purple Palace. Each child is working hard to improve in their own realm, which makes Ye Changsheng feel gratified. As for the guest officials, the 6 god level guards have advanced to the late stage of Purple Palace, and their strength has greatly increased. 48 elite guards are still in the middle stage of Purple Palace, and the remaining 106 are the early stage of Purple Palace guards. These guest officials are the backbone of the Ye family and will play an important role in the upcoming war. After counting all the people going out, Ye Changsheng came to the back mountain and began to summon the fire crows. This time he only planned to take away 9 Daoting realm fire crows and 89 3rd level upper grade fire crows, 243 3rd level middle grade fire crows, and 597 3rd level lower grade fire crows. When these fiery red figures flew from all directions, the whole sky seemed to be covered by flames, and the scene was spectacular. Ye Changsheng carefully put all these fire crows into his super large monster bag, preparing for the upcoming battle point. After completing all this, Ye Changsheng returned to the sky above King Hu Peak Point. More than 100 purple mansion cultivators and more than 600 foundation building cultivators had gathered below. All of them were in high spirits, ready to follow Ye Changsheng to the battle point. Ye Changsheng casually released 4 4th level top grade warships and 23rd level top grade warships. These warships were arranged in a neat formation in the air, exuding a powerful momentum. Ye Changsheng said loudly, "Everyone, please board the warship. We are about to set off to win supreme glory for the Ye family." Upon hearing this, everyone flew up and boarded their assigned warships in an orderly manner. Each warship is equipped with a powerful formation that can resist the enemy's attack and also launch a powerful attack point. At this moment, the 100 Flowers ferry boat was pulled up into the sky by 4 4th grade superior dragons. This ferry boat was extremely gorgeous, surrounded by colorful clouds, like a fairyland. Then, the 100 Flowers sky boat was also pulled up into the sky by 4 4th grade superior 4-winged white tigers, echoing the 100 Flowers ferry boat. The 2 4th grade superior magic weapon level aircraft reflected each other in the air, which was magnificent. At this time, over the entire King Hu Peak, warships stood in a row, and the ferry boats were running side by side, plus hundreds of cultivators stood in the air. The scene was spectacular. Ye Changsheng stood on the warship in the front. His eyes were like torches, scanning this powerful team. He took a deep breath and said loudly, "Let's go." With Ye Changsheng's order, the whole team slowly started and flew towards the distant sky point on King Hu Peak. The remaining tribesmen waved goodbye and watched the mighty team disappear on the horizon. The Ye family's expedition began. Ye Changsheng stood on the deck of the 4th level warship, feeling the strong air currents whizzing through the sky. The warship flew across the sky at an astonishing speed, and the scenery below changed rapidly. They first flew over a vast plain where the golden wheat waves sparkled in the sun like a golden ocean. Then, the warship passed over towering mountains with snow-capped peaks and clouds and mist like a fairyland. Then, they flew over a dense primeval forest with lush treetops stretching endlessly, and occasionally some huge flying monsters could be seen shuttling through the forest. Later, they passed through a vast desert, where the golden sand dunes undulated like waves, and flashed dazzling light in the sun. Finally, they flew over a vast grassland with green grass dotted with colorful wildflowers. Herds of wild animals were running on the grassland, and the scene was spectacular. After half a year of long journey, Ye Changsheng and his party finally arrived at the western border of Dakin, close to the area of the Demon Clan Point. When they lowered their flight altitude, Ye Changsheng was shocked by the scene in front of him. Looking around, the entire plain was covered with dense tents, like a white ocean. Ye Changsheng roughly estimated in the sky that the number of tents was at least hundreds of thousands. The scale of this huge army of cultivators is amazing. Ye Changsheng ordered to land and led everyone to report to the command center. The command center is located in a huge magic circle, surrounded by dozens of powerful cultivators. They soon met the commander, a cultivator in the late Dao court. The commander had a serious face, a sharp gaze, and a strong pressure all over his body. Ye Changsheng of the Ye family led 1036 cultivators to report. Ye Changsheng saluted respectfully. The commander nodded, took the document handed over by Ye Changsheng, and after checking it carefully, he said, "Very good, you arrived on time. I have arranged a camp for the Ye family, located in the northwest corner. The attack date and echelon arrangement will be notified later. You should rest first." Ye Changsheng thanked the commander and led everyone to the designated camp point. The area here has been divided into areas, which is enough to accommodate their number. Chapter 413 Killing the Black Bear. In the following day, the Ye family was busy setting up tents, arranging defense formations, and sorting out supplies. After a whole day of hard work, the team of nearly 1,000 people finally settled the camp point. As night fell, Ye Changsheng summoned the core members of the family to discuss the next plan and precautions. He emphasized the need to remain vigilant and be ready for battle at any time. 2 months passed quietly. During this period, in addition to daily practice, the Ye family also conducted many actual combat exercises, To adapt to the upcoming battle point finally, the command center sent a long-awaited order. A messenger quickly flew to the Ye family camp and handed a sealed jade slip to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng opened the jade slip and read it carefully. His face became solemn. He immediately summoned everyone and announced, "We have received the order. Our mission is to attack a 4th level upper grade spiritual land not far from the border. There is a black bear monster in the late Daoting period entrenched there, and its strength is very strong. The command center especially reminds us to be extremely careful." When everyone heard this, their expressions became serious. Ye Changsheng continued, "We will set off immediately. Everyone board the warships and immortal boats, stay alert, and be ready to respond to possible emergencies at any time." With Ye Changsheng's order, the Ye family members acted quickly. They boarded their assigned warships and immortal boats in an orderly manner, checked their equipment, and adjusted their status. Not long after, a powerful team consisting of warships, immortal boats, and many monks took off and rushed towards the direction of the 4th level spiritual land. Ye Changsheng stood on the front warship. His eyes were like torches, and he secretly prayed in his heart that this operation could be completed smoothly. After 2 hours of flying, the team led by Ye Changsheng finally arrived at the target location, a towering spiritual mountain. This mountain is towering into the clouds, and the surrounding spiritual energy is rich. It is obviously a rare 4th level upper grade spiritual land. Ye Changsheng stood on the deck of the main ship and carefully sensed the breath in the mountain. After a moment, he nodded slightly and said to the people around him, "There is indeed only one 4th grade upper grade monster beast, which should be the black bear mentioned in the intelligence." The people around him breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Master, how should we act?" Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and ordered, "Release 4 4th grade upper grade 4-winged white tigers and let them go to battle first." As the order was issued, 4 huge monster bags were opened. The huge, snow-white 4-winged white tigers soared into the air and roared loudly. They quickly dispersed and surrounded the entire Lingshan from 4 directions. At this moment, an angry roar came from the mountainside. A black bear as big as a hill rushed out of the cave. It was as black as ink and its eyes were flashing with fierce light. Seeing this, the 4 white tigers opened their mouths and fired dazzling light bolts at the same time. Roaring bombs. The 4 roaring bombs crossed in a cross and went straight to the black bear. The black bear roared and slapped the ground with his claws. A yellowish brown energy barrier rose instantly, blocking the roaring bombs' attack. The explosion was deafening, and smoke and dust rose everywhere. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the 4 white tigers pounced on the black bear at the same time. Their sharp claws drew cold light in the air and fiercely grabbed the black bear's vital parts. Although the black bear was huge, its movements were extremely flexible. It rolled left and right, avoiding most of the attacks, and waving its huge bare paws to fight back. With a loud bang, a white tiger was hit in the abdomen and flew back more than 10 feet away. But it quickly stood up and joined the battle again. The battle became more and more intense, and the 5 behemoths rolled and bit in the mountain's trees were uprooted, and boulders were smashed to pieces. The whole mountain was shaking, as if it would collapse at any time. Although the black bear was brave, it was still at a disadvantage in the face of 4 equally powerful opponents. Its body was covered with scars, and blood dyed its dark fur red. At this moment, a white tiger seized the opportunity and bit the black bear's throat. The other 3 white tigers also pounced on the black bear and suppressed it. The black bear let out a last wail and finally fell down unwillingly. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately flew down. He took out his flying sword, skillfully cut open the black bear's abdomen, and took out a demon pill as big as a basin. This 4th grade upper grade earth attributed demon pill exuded a rich spiritual energy, and Ye Changsheng carefully put it into the storage bag. Put away the remaining corpses as well, Ye Changsheng ordered. "These are all precious cultivation materials and cannot be wasted." Then, Ye Changsheng ordered to start looting the entire Lingshan. Everyone acted separately and searched every corner carefully. 2 hours later, they had a rich harvest, a 4th grade middle grade spiritual grass and leaves, and dozens of 3rd grade spiritual medicines. After confirming that there was nothing else worth looting, Ye Changsheng sent a message to the command center to report that the mission was completed. An hour later, a messenger monk came quickly. He handed Ye Changsheng a merit token, which recorded the merits of this battle, a total of 300 great merits. The messenger monk also brought the next task. Not far from here is a 4th level high quality spiritual land. There is a swamp there, and a 4th level high quality crocodile monster is entrenched. Your task is to capture this spiritual land. Ye Changsheng solemnly took the task and began to arrange the next step. He called everyone together, explained the new mission content and precautions in detail, and ordered them to rest for an hour to meet the next battle in the best condition. An hour later, Ye Changsheng led everyone to the swamp. They carefully passed through the dense jungle, and the air was filled with a damp smell. As they got closer to the swamp, the ground became softer and softer, and the sound of bubbles gurgling came from their feet from time to time. Finally, a vast swamp appeared in front of everyone. The thick fog shrouded the entire area, and some dead trees and stones protruding from the water surface could be vaguely seen. Ye Changsheng observed the surroundings vigilantly, ready to deal with possible dangers at any time. Start. To set up the formation, Ye Changsheng whispered, "Be careful not to alarm the crocodile monster." Everyone acted quickly and set up an ice magic circle around the swamp. As the magic circle gradually took shape, the surface of the swamp began to freeze, and the cold air filled the air. At this moment, a violent splash of water suddenly came from the center of the swamp. A huge figure broke out of the water. It was a huge crocodile with a body length of hundreds of feet. Its scales shone with a metallic luster, and its fangs were as sharp as swords. The crocodile monster roared and opened its bloody mouth. A huge water arrow that was 100 feet long condensed and formed, whistling towards Ye Changsheng and others. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately patted the super large monster bag on his waist. Suddenly, nearly 1,000 three-legged fire crows several feet in size flew out, covering the sky and the sun. Chapter 414, Killing the Giant Crocodile. They quickly formed an array, and the flames they spurted gathered into a huge flame shield. Boom! The water arrow collided with the fire shield, causing billowing steam. The two forces cancelled each other out, and the water arrow finally dissipated without a trace. Seeing that the fire crow formation successfully blocked the attack, Ye Changsheng immediately ordered 4 dragons, go out to fight. 4 dragons with a body length of tens of feet flew out from the monster bag. Their scales flashed, and their beards fluttered, looking majestic. The dragons roared and pounced on the giant crocodile. The battle broke out instantly. The dragons were circling and flying, breathing dragon breath, and tearing at the crocodile's scales with their sharp claws. The giant crocodile waved its tail, opened its mouth and bit, causing huge waves of water. The whole swamp seemed to be shaking from the battle. The fierce battle lasted for nearly half an hour, and the giant crocodile finally couldn't hold on any longer. It was covered in scars, its scales fell off, and blood dyed the surrounding water red. Seeing that he was about to be defeated, the giant crocodile suddenly turned over and tried to get back into the depths of the swamp. When Ye Changsheng saw this, he immediately shouted, 8 ladies, set up the formation. 8 stunningly beautiful women flew out, holding the formation flags of the 4th level high grade ice 1000 miles formation, and lined up in all directions of the swamp. They chanted incantations in unison, and made secrets and instructions. Suddenly, ice dragons flew out from the formation flags, surrounding the giant crocodiles who wanted to escape. Seeing that the giant crocodile was trapped, Ye Changsheng was unwilling to delay any longer. He took out a spherical object that shone with strange light from his storage bag, which was a powerful divine crystal bomb. Everyone, stay back, Ye Changsheng shouted and threw the bomb hard at the trapped giant crocodile. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The dazzling light illuminated the entire sky, and then a huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky. A powerful shock wave swept around, knocking Ye Changsheng and others to the ground. When the smoke dissipated, everyone cautiously approached the center of the explosion. I saw that the giant crocodile's body had been blown into 2 pieces, and a huge hole had been blown out of the surrounding swamp. Ye Changsheng stepped forward quickly and took out a room-sized 4th level high-grade demon elixir with water attributes from the giant crocodile's body. He put the demon pill into the storage bag with satisfaction, and then ordered everyone to collect the remaining crocodile corpses. Start. looting the entire swamp. Ye Changsheng ordered, "Be careful and don't miss any part." After an hour of careful searching, everyone gained a lot. A 4th level high quality water spirit grass, and more than 73rd level water attribute spirit grasses. Ye Changsheng carefully collected these precious spiritual plants after the mission was completed. Ye Changsheng immediately sent someone to send a message to the command center soon. A herald monk came quickly and brought new instructions. 300 meritorious deeds will be recorded for this operation. The attack is suspended today, and everyone is repairing, and we will take on new tasks tomorrow. Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement and immediately began to arrange for everyone to set up camp nearby. He ordered people to set up protective formations and arrange vigilance. At the same time, he directed everyone to set up tents and prepare food and healing medicine. As night fell, the bonfire reflected the tired but satisfied faces of everyone. Early the next morning, as the sun just rose, Ye Changsheng received the latest order from the command center. After he finished reading it carefully, he immediately called a meeting with everyone. Ye Changsheng looked around and said in a deep voice, "Our new mission is to attack a 4th order high-grade spiritual land. There are 3 4th order high-grade monsters there, fire fox, rhinoceros and longhorned deer. It is about 3 hours away from us." After everyone heard this, they began to prepare. Some people checked the magical artifacts, some replenished the elixirs, and some began to set up protective formations. Ye Changsheng summoned 8 leaders to discuss tactics. "This trip is dangerous, and we must be extremely careful," Ye Changsheng warned. "Be especially careful about that fire fox. It is extremely cunning, and may use illusions to confuse us." When ready, the army boarded the battleships and immortal boats, and began to march towards the target point. On the way, Ye Changsheng kept using his spiritual consciousness to explore the surroundings to prevent an ambush. 3 hours later, they finally arrived at their destination. Looking from a distance, I saw a majestic spiritual peak towering, shrouded in clouds and mist, and rich in spiritual energy. Ye Changsheng made a prompt decision and ordered 4 dragons and 4 4-winged white tigers, attack immediately. Surround the entire mountain peak. Don't let any monsters escape. Following the order, 8 mighty monsters rose into the air and quickly surrounded the entire spiritual peak. The 3 monsters in the mountain seemed to sense the danger and rushed out of the cave one after another, fighting fiercely with Ye Changsheng's monsters. The battle broke out instantly, with flames shooting out and the earth shaking. The fire fox spits flames from its mouth, the rhinoceros runs rampant, and the longhorned deer casts wood spells and grows vines everywhere. Upon seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately ordered the 8 ladies to set up an array. "Quick, cast the phantom tracing array. Be sure to trap these 3 monsters." 8 stunning beauties held formation flags and quickly set up a large formation around the mountain peak. Suddenly, the entire mountain peak was filled with phantoms, making it difficult to tell the real ones from the fake ones. The 3 monsters suddenly fell into confusion, making it difficult to discern the enemy's true location. The fierce battle lasted for 3 full hours. During this period, Ye Changsheng continued to give orders and mobilize his monsters to carry out siege. Finally, after an earth-shattering roar, the battle subsided. Ye Changsheng cautiously entered the formation to check. I saw 3 monster beasts lying in a pool of blood, with no breath at all. He quickly took out 3 demon pills, fire attribute, metal attribute, and wood attribute, all of which were 4th level top quality. Remove the formation, Ye Changsheng ordered. Start searching for loot. Everyone immediately took action and carefully searched the entire spiritual peak. An hour later, there was a lot of harvest. 3 4th grade high grade Danayang grass, 5 4th grade low grade fire spirit grass, and hundreds of 3rd grade elixir. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction and immediately sent someone to report the results to the command center soon. The heralding monk brought new instructions. 800 meritorious deeds were recorded for this operation, and a new mission was issued. Everyone, Ye Changsheng announced loudly, our next target is another spiritual peak 2 hours away. There are 5 4th level high grade monsters there, black wolf, demonic ox, leopard, demonic mink and mammoth. It will be a fierce battle. Everyone must be prepared. After everyone heard this, they were both excited and nervous. The Enemy is stronger this time, Ye Changsheng said seriously. We must make full use of the advantages of formations and magic weapons. After being ready, the army set off again, heading towards the next conquest target point along the way. Ye Changsheng kept boosting morale and reminded everyone to stay vigilant. 2 hours later, Ye Changsheng led the army to reach the target Lingfeng point. This 4th level spiritual peak stands tall and towering, with rich spiritual energy. The mountainside is shrouded in clouds and mist, and exotic flowers and plants can be faintly seen on the top of the mountain point. Ye Changsheng looked solemn and ordered 144 Zifu guards, immediately drive 4 4th level high grade battleships to the position. Prepare enough spiritual stones, and be on standby at any time. Chapter 415, Suppressing the Monsters. Soon, 4 huge warships took off into the air, occupying 4 positions of the spiritual peak point on each warship. 36 purple mansion guards were on full alert, with the spiritual stones in their hands flashing dazzling light. Start firing. Ye Changsheng gave an order in an instant. 144 4th grade high quality spiritual cannons fired at the same time. The brilliant spiritual light poured down like a meteor shower, illuminating the entire sky. The spiritual cannons bombarded the mountain, stirring up rubble all over the sky, and deafening explosions were heard. The space around the spiritual peak was distorted by this fierce attack. Countless spiritual beams intertwined into a huge light net, covering the entire mountain. Rocks collapsed, trees broke, and spiritual energy overflowed, and the scene was spectacular. After 3 rounds of volleys, Ye Changsheng saw that the mountain was already devastated, so he ordered to stop the attack. He then summoned 4 dragons and 4 4-winged white tigers, and ordered them to surround the mountain to prevent the monsters from escaping. Sure enough, not long after, 5 huge monsters rushed out of the mountain. They were the burly black wolf, the aggressive demon bull, the agile leopard, the cunning and flexible demon marten, and the largest mammoth. Ye Changsheng's 8 monsters immediately went up and fought fiercely with the enemy. The roar of dragons and tigers was endless, and the whole world was shaken. At this time, Ye Changsheng ordered again. 4 warships, look for opportunities to sneak attack. The 4 warships immediately took action, constantly adjusting their positions to find the best attack angle. Whenever the enemy monsters were slightly separated from their own monsters, the spiritual cannons would bombard them mercilessly. The rumbling sound of the cannons came one after another, and the spiritual beams kept hitting the huge bodies of the 5 monsters. Soon, their bodies were covered with blood holes of various sizes. Blood was pouring out, and their breath gradually weakened. After a fierce battle, under Ye Changsheng's exquisite command and the fierce bombardment of the warships, the 5 powerful monsters finally lost and fell into a pool of blood one after another. Ye Changsheng approached carefully and began to dig out the monster pills. However, he soon found that the situation was not ideal. Due to the fierce bombardment of the spirit cannon, 4 monster pills had been shattered, and only 1 Earth-attributed monster pill was still intact. Ye Changsheng sighed, put away the monster pill, and then ordered his men to collect the remains of the monsters. Start looting treasures. Ye Changsheng ordered, be sure to search carefully, and don't miss any place. Everyone immediately took action and searched around the devastated spirit peak. About an hour later, a subordinate came to report the results of the battle. Report to the master, we found 5 4th grade high quality spiritual medicines, Ganoderma, 7 4th grade medium quality spiritual herbs, and more than 200 3rd grade spiritual medicines. Ye Changsheng nodded, and then, as usual, sent a message to the command center to report the details of the operation. Another hour later, a messenger monk hurried over. He saluted Ye Changsheng respectfully and then said, Lord Ye, the higher-ups have received your report. This operation will be awarded 1,200 merits. In addition, the higher-ups instructed us to rest today and continue to wait for dispatch tomorrow. Ye Changsheng heard this, thanked the messenger monk, and then turned to announce to everyone, today's mission is successfully completed. Let's rest for a night, recuperate, and prepare for tomorrow's action. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard this and began to clean up the battlefield in an orderly manner, setting up camp on the spot to rest point. On the morning of the third day, the dawn was just breaking and Ye Changsheng and his team had just recovered from the rest last night. Suddenly, a communication talisman flew over. Ye Changsheng took it and checked it carefully, and his face suddenly became solemn. Everyone, Ye Changsheng looked up and said to everyone, "We have received a new mission. There is a large number of monsters gathered in a spiritual place 5 hours away. Our mission is to annihilate all the monsters there." He paused and continued, "According to the intelligence, there are 15 4th level upper grade monsters, 32 4th level middle grade monsters, 89 4th level lower grade monsters, more than 300 3rd level monsters, and more than 3,000 1st and 2nd level monsters." Hearing this number, everyone present took a breath. Such a large group of monsters is a huge challenge even for their elite monk army. Ye Changsheng was also full of worries. With so many 4th level monsters, even with the help of warships, it is a problem whether they can retreat unscathed. But the order has been given, and he cannot shirk it. Taking a deep breath, Ye Changsheng made up his mind to prepare for this difficult battle. Everyone, get ready, set off immediately. At Ye Changsheng's command, everyone quickly boarded the warship and rushed to the target location. 5 hours later, they finally arrived at their destination. From a distance, a dense group of monsters were active in a vast valley. Ye Changsheng immediately ordered 4 4th level top grade warships to surround him 4 directions, and 8 of his own 4th level monsters and warships were arranged at intervals. This was the innermost circle, and the outermost circle was surrounded by 23rd level top grade warships. Prepare for battle. At Ye Changsheng's command, he began to summon all his ancient treasures. In front of him floated the 4th level ancient treasure Vajra shield. In his right hand held the 4th level ancient treasure King Iron sword. On his back was the 4th level ancient treasure Zuanshan bow and 20 special ancient arrows. And in his left hand was the 4th level top magic weapon Zuanshan good. This fully armed appearance made people look sideways. Ye Changsheng's preparations immediately attracted the attention of the group of monsters. 15 4th grade top grade monsters took the lead and attacked them. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng quickly took off the Zuanshan bow on his back and put on a special ancient arrow. He pulled the bowstring to its full length and aimed at one of the largest 4th grade top grade monsters. Swoosh! With a sound that broke through the air, the ancient arrow shot out like a meteor and instantly sank into the monster's eyebrows. Then a huge explosion broke out, and the head was blown to pieces. The behemoth fell to the ground without even having time to let out a wail. Ye Changsheng fired 8 ancient arrows in a row, each of which accurately hit the vital point of a 4th grade top grade monster and caused huge damage. 8 powerful 4th grade top grade monsters were easily killed by him and his bow. So powerful, the guards behind him couldn't help but exclaimed. Ye Changsheng was also secretly glad that these expensive ancient treasures were really worth the money. However, the remaining monsters were obviously aware of Ye Changsheng's threat. They all locked their attack targets on him. Seeing the large group of monsters swarming in, Ye Changsheng knew that it was too late to use the bow and arrow. He quickly put away the Zuanshan bow and took out the King Iron sword. Clang! A sword sound resounded through the sky, and the King Iron sword in Ye Changsheng's hand burst into a dazzling light. Chapter 416. The Divine Crystal Bomb shows its power. He swung his sword, and the sword energy was like a long rainbow piercing the sun, hundreds of feet long, and spanning thousands of meters, splitting a huge 4th level upper grade monster in half. After several consecutive sword swings, 2 more 4th level upper grade monsters fell under Ye Changsheng's sword. However, more monsters were approaching. At the critical moment, Ye Changsheng suddenly sacrificed the Zuanshan gourd. The mouth of the gourd opened, and a powerful suction burst out, instantly sucking 3 4th level middle grade monsters into it. However, the overwhelming group of monsters had already attacked close. Ye Changsheng immediately activated the Vajra shield and saw golden light flashing. And a huge golden barrier hundreds of feet high instantly unfolded, blocking all attacks. Looking at the dense group of monsters, Ye Changsheng had an idea. He quickly took out 5 divine crystal bombs from the storage bag and threw them towards the most densely populated area of monsters. Boom. 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 5 Earth-shaking explosions sounded, and 5 huge mushroom clouds rose into the sky. Strong airwaves swept around, and countless monsters were swept into the air. Taking this opportunity, Ye Changsheng immediately ordered, "Attack with all your strength." Immediately, all the warships fired their spiritual cannons, and 8 4th level high quality monsters also joined the battle. The spiritual beams fell like raindrops, annihilating the monsters one by one. The fierce battle lasted for nearly half an hour. When the smoke cleared, only a few 3rd level monsters and hundreds of 1st and 2nd level monsters were left on the battlefield. End them. At Ye Changsheng's command, 8 4th level high quality monsters immediately rushed forward and quickly annihilated the remaining monsters. When the last monster fell, Ye Changsheng finally breathed a sigh of relief. He looked around and saw the devastation and the corpses of monsters everywhere. Although the battle was fierce, they finally won. Start cleaning up the battlefield and collecting spoils. Ye Changsheng ordered, "Be sure to search carefully and don't miss anything valuable." Ye Changsheng began to harvest demon pills himself. He carefully dissected each demon beast corpse and carefully searched for demon pills. However, due to the powerful power of the ancient treasure and the super lethality of the 4th level spiritual cannon, many demon beasts' bodies had been blown to pieces, and there were not many intact 4th level demon pills. After several hours of hard searching, Ye Changsheng finally harvested 2 4th level top grade earth attribute demon pills and 3 4th level top grade water attribute demon pills. These top grade demon pills exude rich spiritual power fluctuations, and each one is priceless. In addition, he also found 4 4th level medium grade earth attribute demon pills, 8 4th level medium grade water attribute demon pills, and 5 4th level medium grade fire attribute demon pills. Although these medium grade demon pills are of slightly inferior quality, they are more numerous and are also rare treasures. Finally, Ye Changsheng collected 32 4th level low grade demon pills. Although they are low grade, the value of 4th level demon pills is still considerable. In addition, a large number of 3rd level and 2nd level demon pills were harvested on the battlefield. Ye Changsheng roughly estimated that there were more than 100 3rd level demon pills and hundreds of 2nd level demon pills. Looking at these spoils, Ye Changsheng was secretly happy. He knew that these demon pills could not only be used for cultivation, but also for refining various elixirs and magic weapons, which were extremely precious resources in the world of immortal cultivation. In order to boost morale, Ye Changsheng decided to reward all demon pills of 3rd level and below to the monks who participated in the war. When he announced this decision, everyone cheered. The monks excitedly shared the spoils, with the joy of victory on their faces. After collecting the demon pills, Ye Changsheng led everyone to search for spiritual medicines on the battlefield. This area was originally the territory of demon beasts, which contained rich natural treasures. After a careful search, they harvested more than 24th grade high quality spiritual medicines, each of which exuded a rich spiritual energy and was invaluable. In addition, more than 100 4th grade medium quality spiritual medicines and more than 500 4th grade low quality spiritual medicines were found. Looking at these rare spiritual medicines, Ye Changsheng was very excited. These spiritual medicines can not only be used to refine pills, but can also be taken directly to improve cultivation. These 4th grade spiritual medicines alone are enough to raise the strength of the entire sect to a high level. In addition to these precious 4th grade spiritual medicines, they also found thousands of 3rd grade and lower spiritual medicines. Considering the importance of these spiritual medicines to low level cultivators, Ye Changsheng decided to reward them to the participating cultivators. This decision once again triggered a round of cheers, and the cultivators were grateful and their loyalty to Ye Changsheng was greatly improved. After collecting the spoils, Ye Changsheng immediately reported the results of the battle to the command center. 5 hours later, a messenger arrived in a dusty state. After he saluted Ye Changsheng, he solemnly announced, "Lord Ye Changsheng, based on your record, the command center has decided to award you 8,400 great merits." Hearing this number, Ye Changsheng was delighted. So many great merits can not only greatly improve his status among the monks participating in the war, but also exchange for a large number of cultivation resources. He solemnly took the merit token handed over by the messenger and expressed his gratitude to him. After handling all the affairs, it was getting dark. Ye Changsheng looked around and decided to rest here for one night and continue the battle tomorrow. He immediately ordered to set up camp and arranged for people to take turns to guard to prevent any sneak attacks by the monsters that escape the net. Soon, a temporary camp was established next to the battlefield. The monks were busy setting up tents, arranging defense formations, and preparing food. Ye Changsheng walked in the camp, looking at the busy people. His heart was full of pride and responsibility. As night fell, a bonfire was lit in the camp. Ye Changsheng summoned all the monks who participated in the battle and held a simple and solemn celebration banquet. He stood by the bonfire and expressed his gratitude and respect to everyone. Brothers, today's victory is hard won. It is your courage and strength that allowed us to repel such a powerful group of monsters. I'm proud to fight side by side with you. Ye Changsheng's voice was loud and firm. Tomorrow, we will continue to move forward, expand our territory, and strive for more living space for the human race. I believe that, as long as we unite as one, no enemy can stop us. His words triggered a warm applause and cheers. The morale of the monks was unprecedentedly high, and everyone's eyes flashed with a firm light. After the banquet, Ye Changsheng returned to his tent. He sat cross-legged and began to sort out today's gains and experiences. This battle not only brought rich material rewards, but also allowed him to accumulate valuable experience in actual combat. He thought about how to better use these ancient treasures and how to more effectively command large-scale battles late at night, when most people had fallen asleep. Ye Changsheng remained alert. Chapter 417. Annihilate the enemies again. He would step out of his tent from time to time and inspect the camp to make sure everything was safe. In this dangerous wilderness, a moment's slack could have disastrous consequences. In this way, in a tense and fulfilling atmosphere, Ye Changsheng and his team spent the night. After the most intense battle. Early the next morning, as the sun just rose, the camp received a messenger with a hurried look. He brought new military orders and ordered Ye Changsheng to lead his team to attack a gathering place of monsters 2 hours away. The messenger reported the enemy's situation in detail. There were 20 high-grade 4th order monsters there, more than 80 4th order middle grade and 4th lower monsters, more than 500 3rd order monsters, and even more 2nd order and 1st order monsters. There are more than 5,000. Hearing the news, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but take a breath and feel a chill running down his spine. A group of monsters of this size is even larger and more dangerous than what we encountered yesterday. However, as a monk general, he knew that the responsibility was too heavy to shirk. Yes, we will set off immediately. Ye Changsheng responded in a deep voice, then turned around and gave the order to the monks to set off. The camp suddenly became busy, and the monks quickly packed up and prepared for battle. During this period, Ye Changsheng summoned the captains and laid out the attack plan in detail. 2 hours later, the army arrived at the target location. Looking from a distance, I saw countless monsters in a vast wilderness, ready to move, and menacingly. Ye Changsheng immediately commanded the troops to set up a formation. 4 4th order high-grade warships in the center as the main offensive force. 8 4th order high-grade monsters deployed at intervals as a maneuvering force. 23rd order high-grade battleships were deployed on the periphery, forming a huge encirclement point in order to prevent fish from slipping through the net. Ye Changsheng also released nearly 1,000 three-legged firecrows from the monster bag and let them hover on the outermost periphery, forming a living barrier. Following Ye Changsheng's order, 4 4th tier high-grade battleships began to attack. 144 high-grade 4th grade spiritual cannons fired at the same time, and dense spiritual energy beams poured down like a torrential rain, aiming directly at the enemy's 4th grade monster amidst the rumbling sound of cannons. The group of monster beasts also began to fight back. 24th level high-grade monsters led the army to charge out. Some of them spewed poisonous mist, some released thunder and lightning, and some brandished huge minions. Trying to break through the human race's defense line. The battlefield instantly turned into chaos. The light of the spirit cannon and the attack of the monster beast intertwined in the air, forming a thrilling picture. The ground was constantly shaking due to the powerful energy impact, and the air was filled with pungent smoke and the stench of monsters. Ye Changsheng stood on the deck of a battleship, calmly observing the battle situation. He saw that his own spiritual artillery fire caused huge casualties to the monsters, but at the same time he also noticed that some monsters were looking for weak points in the battle formation. Strengthen the left defense. Ye Changsheng decisively ordered 2 tier 3 battleships to be mobilized to fill any gaps that may arise. At this moment, 6 4th level high grade monsters suddenly broke out from the dense artillery fire. They led a group of stronger monsters and rushed towards Ye Changsheng's location. These monsters have obviously recognized Ye Changsheng as the commander of the human race and want to break down the human race's defense line by killing him. Ye Changsheng's eyes flashed, knowing that the critical moment had arrived. He quickly took out all the ancient treasures he carried with him and saw golden light flashing and powerful magic weapons floating around him. The most eye-catching thing among them is the ancient sword that exudes light. Cyan light, King Iron Sword. Ye Changsheng formed a seal with his hands, and the King Iron Sword buzzed and instantly turned into a stream of cyan light rising into the sky. As Ye Changsheng waved his hand, the sword light surged, and in the blink of an eye it turned into a huge sword energy several hundred feet long, slashing towards the charging monster group. Cut! Ye Changsheng shouted sharply. The sword energy whizzed past, and the air was torn apart, making a sharp whistling sound. The 2 4th level high grade monsters that rushed forward had no time to dodge and were cut into 2 pieces by the terrifying sword energy, and their huge bodies fell to the ground. When the other monsters saw this, they couldn't help but feel frightened, but they continued to move forward under the urging of the leader. Ye Changsheng swung his sword continuously, and sword energy poured out like a galaxy, killing the charging monsters one by one. However, there were too many monsters, and no matter how fast Ye Changsheng's sword skills were, he could not completely stop them. Seeing that the remaining 4 4th level high grade monsters were approaching, Ye Changsheng knew that he had to use his trump card. He quickly took out an inconspicuous little gourd from his arms, the sky swallowing gourd. Ye Changsheng poured all his magic power into it and saw the small gourd suddenly swelled and grew to a size of about 10 feet in the blink of an eye. The gourd's mouth was aimed at the charging monster, and suddenly a powerful suction force came out. The wind was strong, and the world seemed to be upside down at this moment. 15 4th order monster beasts, including the remaining 4 4th order high grade monster beasts, were involuntarily pulled by this huge suction force and flew towards the gourd mouth. They struggled desperately, their claws carving deep ravines in the ground, but in the end they could not escape the fate of being sucked into the gourd. In the blink of an eye, 15 powerful monsters disappeared out of thin air, as if they had never existed. When the remaining low-level monsters saw this, they were immediately frightened and fled in all directions. However, Ye Changsheng did not stop there. He used the King Iron Sword again, and the sword light spread across the sky, killing the low-level monsters that tried to escape one by one. Under Ye Changsheng's control, the King Iron Sword shuttled back and forth on the battlefield like a flexible silver dragon, and every flash took the lives of several monsters at the same time. The spiritual cannon firepower of the 4 4th level top grade warships did not decrease at all. Dense spiritual beams continued to bombard the remaining monsters, beating them back step by step. 23rd level top grade warships also joined the battle, forming a huge firepower net, trapping the monsters in the air. The 3-legged fire crows released by Ye Changsheng were not idle either. They swooped down and bit the small monsters that wanted to escape with their sharp beaks and claws. The fiery red feathers shone in the sun like a flowing sea of fire, causing great psychological pressure on the monsters at this stage of the battle. The balance of victory had clearly tilted towards the human race. However, Ye Changsheng did not relax at all. He knew clearly that in such a large-scale battle, any small negligence could have disastrous consequences. Fellow Daoists, maintain your formation and don't give the enemy any chance to take advantage. Ye Changsheng's voice was once again transmitted throughout the army through the sound transmission spell point. His voice was steady and powerful, instilling strong confidence in every cultivator in the battle point. As time went on, the number of monsters decreased dramatically. Chapter 418. 8 teams. The surviving monsters also lost their will to fight and fled in all directions. However, they soon found themselves surrounded and had nowhere to escape. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng knew that victory was within his grasp. He swung the King Iron Sword again, and a huge sword energy swept across, completely destroying the last batch of monsters trying to break through. Boom. As the last monster fell, the entire battlefield suddenly became quiet. After a moment of silence, the monks burst into a thunderous cheer. Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief and slowly put away the King Iron Sword and other ancient treasures. He looked around and saw the corpses of monsters everywhere, and the air was filled with a strong smell of blood. Although the battle was fierce, they won an overwhelming victory. Count the casualties and collect the spoils. Ye Changsheng issued a new order. The monks immediately took action and began to deal with the battlefield. After the battle, Ye Changsheng immediately organized people to count the spoils. The monks shuttled back and forth on the bloody battlefield, carefully collecting precious demon pills and spiritual medicines. After several hours of inventory, the final harvest was exciting. 3 4th level top grade fire demon pills, flashing with blazing light. 1 4th level top grade water demon pill, emitting a faint water vapor. 1 4th level top grade gold demon pill, like a piece of exquisite metal. These high level demon pills are undoubtedly the most precious harvest of this battle. In addition, there are more than 10 4th level middle grade demon pills and more than 20 4th level low grade demon pills. The number of 3rd level demon pills is even more impressive, reaching about 200. There are as many as more than 800 2nd level demon pills. Although these demon pills are not of high grade, they are huge in number. For low and middle level monks with scarce cultivation resources, it is undoubtedly a considerable fortune. The harvest of spiritual medicines is also rich. There are more than 20 4th level top grade spiritual medicines, each of which exudes a rich aura, enough to make the monks present salivate. There were more than 3,000 other spiritual medicines, large and small. Although the grades were uneven, the number was still staggering. After repeated consideration, Ye Changsheng decided to reward all the 3rd level demon pills and demon corpses, as well as the 2nd level demon pills and demon corpses, to the monks who made contributions in the battle. This decision immediately won the cheers of the crowd, and everyone thanked Ye Changsheng for his generosity. After cleaning up the battlefield, Ye Changsheng ordered to set up camp. The monks quickly built a temporary camp and arranged a defensive formation to prepare for the next rest. The next morning, a messenger monk hurried over with a new order. After listening carefully, Ye Changsheng showed an excited look on his face. It turned out that they had won 2,500 great merits in this operation, which was undoubtedly an affirmation of their outstanding performance. What made Ye Changsheng even more excited was that the new mission gave them greater freedom. They were authorized to attack freely in the demon territory within a radius of 2,000 kilometers in the southwest, and the requirement was to attack as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Intelligence shows that the monsters in this area are relatively scattered, and there are absolutely no big monsters above level 5. This news undoubtedly relieved Ye Changsheng. Compared with the 2 previous terrifying missions, the pressure this time was obviously much less. He began to think about how to use this opportunity to train his sons. After careful consideration, Ye Changsheng made a detailed plan. He decided to divide his 12 sons in the Purple Mansion period into 8 teams, each with a 3rd level top grade warship. To ensure safety, each team was also equipped with 2 guards in the middle stage of Purple Mansion. The most surprising thing is that Ye Changsheng also decided to let the 3-legged fire crows in the Dao Court period participate in the operation. After these 3-legged fire crows advanced to the Dao Court period, their IQs have been significantly improved, and they can fully understand complex instructions, and their cooperation is no worse than that of Xiaohou. Ye Changsheng believes that his sons can also command these fire crows. Therefore, he arranged for each team to have a 3-legged fire crow in the Dao Court period to support them. In order to enhance the combat effectiveness, Ye Changsheng also equipped each Daoting stage 3-legged fire crow with a small fire crow unit, 10 3rd grade upper grade fire crows, 33rd grade middle grade fire crows, and 73rd grade lower grade fire crows. These fire crows will be led and commanded by the doting stage 3-legged fire crow to form a powerful air force. Next, Ye Changsheng began to distribute various talismans. He distributed 3 4th grade upper grade large diamond talismans to each son, which can provide strong protection in critical moments. In addition, there are 9 3rd grade upper grade small diamond talismans for regular protection. In terms of attack talismans, Ye Changsheng's arrangements are more detailed. He took out 5 4th grade upper grade attack talismans: Fiery Sun Burning Sky Talisman, Raging Wave Devouring Talisman, Wild Wind Strangling Talisman, Mountain Collapse Talisman, and Thunderbolt Talisman. Each of these talismans contains the power to destroy the world. Ye Changsheng asked each son to choose 2 talismans that match his attributes. The 3rd level top grade attack talismans also have various attributes: Fire Dragon Roaring Talisman, Water Dragon Tumbling Talisman, Wood Dragon Entangling Talisman, Earth Dragon Fury Talisman, and Gold Dragon Claw Talisman. Each son can choose 9 talismans that match his own attributes. Ye Changsheng began to divide the 12 sons in the Purple Mansion period into teams. He knew the characteristics and cultivation of each son very well, so he carefully arranged the composition of each team. The first team was led by the second son Ye Changsheng, who had reached the 8th level of Purple Mansion cultivation and had the highest cultivation among all the brothers. Ye Changsheng has high hopes for him and hopes that he can show his leadership in this operation. The second team is led by the 15th old Ye Changsheng. Although he has only the 4th level of Purple Mansion cultivation, he has a calm personality and meticulous thinking. Ye Changsheng believes that he can formulate a thorough tactic. The third team is led by the 44th old Ye Changsheng. Although Ye Changsheng is young, he is gifted and has a Holy Spirit root. His cultivation has reached the 3rd level of Purple Mansion. Ye Changsheng believes that his potential will be fully utilized in this operation. The 4th team is composed of the 3rd old Ye Shengs and the 5th old Ye Changsheng. Ye Shengs has the 2nd level of Purple Mansion cultivation, and Ye Changsheng has the 1st level of Purple Mansion cultivation. Although the two have relatively low cultivation, they cooperate well. Ye Changsheng hopes that they can support each other and grow together. The 5th team is composed of the 13th old Ye Changsheng and the 20th old Ye Changfeng. Ye Changsheng has the 2nd level of Purple Mansion cultivation, and Ye Changfeng has the 1st level of Purple Mansion cultivation. Ye Changsheng believes that the two have complementary personalities and can form a good team. The 6th team is composed of the 22nd Old Man Ye Changpan and the 26th Old Man Ye Chengru. Ye Changpan has the 2nd level of Purple Palace cultivation, and Ye Chengru has the 1st level of Purple Palace cultivation. Although Ye Chengru has a lower level of cultivation, he has a natural spiritual root and great potential. The 7th team is composed of the 23rd Old Man Ye Shengqian and the 27th Old Man Ye Shenglan. Ye Shengqian has the 2nd level of Purple Palace cultivation, and Ye Shenglan has the 1st level of Purple Palace cultivation. Both of them have gentle personalities, and Ye Changsheng hopes that they can become stronger in this operation. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419, The Performance of the Sons. The 8th team is composed of the 32nd son Ye Chengtang and the 7th son Ye Chenghao. Ye Chengtang has a 2nd level cultivation in the Purple Palace and possesses a natural spiritual root. Ye Chenghao has a 1st level cultivation in the Purple Palace. Ye Changsheng has high hopes for this pair of duo, hoping that Ye Chengtang can lead Ye Chenghao to grow quickly. After arranging the team, Ye Changsheng summoned 3 sons with the best spiritual roots: Ye Chenggan, Ye Chengru and Ye Chengtang. He took them to a secret room and said solemnly, "You 3 are gifted. Although it is risky to fight alone this time, it is also a rare opportunity to train. In order to ensure your safety, I have prepared 3 3rd level ancient treasures, and each of you can choose one. After that, Ye Changsheng took out 3 treasures that exuded a simple and ancient atmosphere: Zuanshan Shield, Demon Slaying Spear and Yufeng Wing Point. He introduced the characteristics and usage of each ancient treasure in detail. After listening, Ye Changsheng chose the Demon Slaying Spear without hesitation. This offensive ancient treasure is very consistent with his personality. Ye Changsheng chose the Yufeng Wing, as he thought this treasure could greatly improve his mobility. Ye Changsheng chose the Zuanshan Shield, as he always valued defense, and this shield was just what he wanted. After distributing the ancient treasures, Ye Changsheng left Ye Changsheng alone, and took out the 3rd level top level Shiantan Gourd, the 4th level lower grade 9 turn Thunder Formation, and the 4th level middle grade Jayana Long Talisman, that could be used 7 times. Ye Changsheng thought about it, and took out 3 more Divine Crystal Bombs, solemnly handing them to Ye Changsheng. He solemnly warned, when you are free to kill monsters, don't fight recklessly, and you must ensure your own safety. Ye Changsheng nodded nonchalantly and said, don't worry, father, I will pay attention, and I will definitely kill the monsters without leaving a single piece of armor. Seeing Ye Changsheng's fearless momentum, Ye Changsheng sighed, knowing that his words were in vain. After thinking for a while, he took out 10 large Vajra talismans and 10 4th level top grade attack talismans, and handed them to Ye Changsheng, sighed, and said nothing more. Then, 8 3rd level warships were ready to go. Ye Changsheng stood on the 4th level warship, watching his sons embark on the journey. Feeling both proud and worried. He knew that this action would be an important step in their growth. Then, Ye Changsheng began to distribute talismans to other monks participating in the action. He gave each purple mansion guard and elder 3 3rd level top grade small Vajra talismans, to ensure their safety. In terms of attack talismans, each person received 3 3rd level top grade attack talismans. Ye Changsheng was not stingy with the 600 foundation building monks. Each person received a 3rd level top grade small Vajra talisman and 3 3rd level top grade attack talismans. Although these talismans are not many in number, they may play a decisive role at a critical moment. Just after Ye Changsheng distributed the talismans, Ye Jialong hurried over. He reported to Ye Changsheng that the remaining Ye family monks also hoped to be able to move freely and disperse the attack. After thinking for a moment, Ye Changsheng agreed to this request. He believed that this would allow more family members to be trained, and at the same time, expand the search range. Finally, Ye Changsheng began to command the remaining 4 4th level top grade warships and 8 4th level top grade monsters. He selected a small monster gathering place as the target, and prepared to launch an attack. Before issuing the attack order, Ye Changsheng once again reminded all the monks participating in the action to act cautiously and retreat immediately when encountering an unmanageable situation. With Ye Changsheng's order, the warships took off, the monsters spread their wings and flew high, and the mighty team headed towards the distance. Ye Changsheng stood on a high place, watching the team go away, secretly praying in his heart that everyone could return safely and reap a lot. With Ye Changsheng's order, the mighty team headed towards the distance. He stood on a high place and watched everyone go away, silently praying in his heart that everyone could return safely and have a rich harvest. Not long after, the large team led by Ye Changsheng traveled for about an hour and arrived at a 4th grade upper grade spiritual land. This area is rich in spiritual energy and lush vegetation. From a distance, you can feel the powerful vitality contained in that. However, such a high quality spiritual land will naturally not be ownerless. It has long been occupied by a group of powerful monsters. Ye Changsheng swept his spiritual sense and quickly grasped the distribution of monsters in this spiritual land. 3 4th grade upper grade monsters were entrenched in it, and there were more than 20 4th grade monsters around them. Further out, there were more than 80 3rd grade monsters, and hundreds of 2nd grade and 1st grade monsters. Such a lineup is undoubtedly a nightmare for ordinary cultivators. But in Ye Changsheng's eyes, it is just a piece of fat meat that is about to be obtained. All troops listen to orders and attack according to the plan. Ye Changsheng ordered in a deep voice. Then, 4 4th grade top grade warships spread out in a fan shape, and 8 4th grade top grade monsters dispersed to form a huge encirclement point. The monsters obviously sensed the danger and became alert, with low roars coming one after another. At this moment, Ye Changsheng waved his hand, and the spiritual light column on the warship suddenly lit up, pouring down on the monsters like a divine punishment from heaven. At the same time, the 8 4th grade top grade monsters also launched a fierce attack, with claws tearing and teeth biting, and in an instant they cut a bloody path through the monsters. Faced with such powerful firepower, the monsters fell into chaos, although the 3 4th grade top grade monsters fought hard. They were quickly defeated one by one under Ye Changsheng's precise command. The rest of the monsters were even more vulnerable, and fell in groups in less than half an hour. The entire spiritual land had been cleared. Ye Changsheng ordered his men to quickly plunder the spoils, collect demon pills and valuable materials. At the same time, he was already preparing for the next target. Go northeast, there is a new 4th level spiritual land there. Ye Changsheng ordered decisively. The team set off again and soon arrived at the next target location. There is a 4th level upper grade demon beast leading hundreds of demon beasts of various levels. However, in front of Ye Changsheng's powerful army, the fate of this group of demon beasts is no different from before. After the battle, Ye Changsheng did not stop, but continued to lead the team to the next spiritual land. He knew that there were more prey waiting for them in this vast area. At the same time, other members of the Ye family also took action in their respective areas. Ye Changsheng came to a 3rd level upper grade spiritual land, where 4 3rd level upper grade demon beasts, 33rd level middle grade and low grade demon beasts, and more than 200 demon beasts below the 3rd level lived. Facing such a lineup, Ye Changsheng was confident. He waved his hand and ordered, release the 3-legged fire crows and surround them. Instantly, 110 3rd level 3-legged fire crows flew out of the warship, drawing graceful arcs in the air and quickly surrounded the entire group of monsters. Chapter 420, Fierce Clouds. With Ye Changsheng's order, the 3-legged fire crows collectively sprayed flames, and suddenly the flames shot up into the sky and the heat waves rolled. The group of monsters panicked and fled in all directions. However, Ye Changsheng was well prepared. Those monsters that escaped the fire circle by chance were immediately killed by the spiritual cannons of the 3rd level upper grade warships. The whole battle process was smooth, showing Ye Changsheng's ability to command. After the battle, Ye Changsheng ordered his men to go down and plunder the spoils. Search carefully and don't miss anything valuable. Monster corpses, monster pills, and spiritual medicines must be collected. An hour later, all resources were taken back to the warship. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction, and then ordered to sail to the next spiritual land. He knew that this was just the beginning, and there were more gains waiting for them. On the other side, Ye Changsheng set his eyes on a 4th level lower grade spiritual land. There lived a huge 4th level lower grade grizzly bear, which looked extremely ferocious. But Ye Changsheng was not afraid. On the contrary, his eyes were shining with excitement. Go and fight with that grizzly bear. Ye Changsheng ordered the 4th level inferior 3-legged fire crow beside him. The loyal spirit beast immediately flew towards the grizzly bear and started a fierce fight. Ye Changsheng then ordered the 3rd level superior warship to fire and assist when the opportunity arose. At the same time, he took out a 4th level superior fiery sun burning heaven talisman, staring sharply at the grizzly bear who was fighting with the 3-legged fire crow. After waiting for a moment, Ye Changsheng suddenly activated the talisman. A huge ball of fire suddenly appeared, enveloping the grizzly bear. The grizzly bear howled in pain and wanted to escape from the encirclement of the flames, but it was too late. Seeing the right time, Ye Changsheng took out the demon killing spear, used up his magic power, and threw it accurately. The tip of the spear flashed with cold light and hit the grizzly bear's abdomen directly. The grizzly bear let out a shrill wail and its body began to wither. Ye Changsheng didn't give the other party a chance to breathe, and immediately stepped forward and swung his sword. The huge sword energy was passed and directly cut off the grizzly bear's head. After the battle, Ye Changsheng excitedly stepped forward to dig out the grizzly bear's demon pill. Then he waved his hand to summon the monks on the warship to come down and began to plunder the spiritual land resources on Ye Changsheng's side. He surrounded a 3rd level upper grade spiritual land point. There was a group of wolf monsters led by 2 3rd level upper grade black wolves, which looked quite fierce. Ye Changsheng was calm and composed, and first operated his magic power to control the 3rd level ancient treasure Zuanshan shield point. With the injection of magic power, a golden shield more than 10 feet high appeared in front of him out of thin air, exuding a strong defensive aura point. Then, he called the Daoting level 3-legged fire crow to guard him to ensure his own safety point. After making defensive preparations, Ye Changsheng took out the magic sword and scanned the wolf pack with lightning-like eyes. He said in a deep voice, "Prepare to attack." Then, he waved his magic sword forward and ordered, "Warships, open fire." Instantly, the spiritual cannons on the warships roared, and countless beams of light condensed by spiritual power poured down like a rainstorm. The wolf monsters were caught off guard, and the shrill howls came one after another. The power of the spiritual cannons was extremely strong, and each blow could easily tear the body of the monsters. Blood and flesh flew everywhere in the wolf pack, and the scene was extremely tragic. 2 3rd level high quality black wolves tried to organize a counter-attack, but under such dense firepower coverage, their efforts seemed insignificant. In less than a moment, the entire wolf pack had been beaten to pieces, and had no power to fight back. Seeing that the time had come, Ye Changsheng pointed the magic sword to the sky and shouted, "Cease fire." The roar of the spiritual cannon stopped abruptly, and the battlefield was suddenly silent. With only a few faint groans, Ye Changsheng ordered his men, "Go down and check if there are any survivors." Several monks quickly went down to the ground and searched carefully. After a while, a monk came back and reported, "Master Tong, the wolf monsters have been basically wiped out. We have also dealt with the few remaining seriously injured monsters." Hearing this result, Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction. He then lifted the defense of the Zuanshan shield and got off the warship himself. Start harvesting the spoils. Don't miss anything. While giving orders, he personally inspected the battlefield. At the same time, Ye Changsheng also showed his skills in another 3rd level upper grade spiritual land. Here lived a group of elk monsters, led by 4 3rd level upper grade elks. For such a goal, Ye Changsheng had already had a countermeasure in mind. He first activated the Yufeng wings, and suddenly a pair of spiritual wings dozens of feet long appeared behind him. This pair of wings is not only beautiful, but also contains powerful power. Ye Changsheng flapped his wings lightly, and the whole person soared into the air, looking down at the elk monsters below from high in the sky. The elk monsters obviously sensed the danger, and began to get restless. The 4 3rd grade superior elks looked up at the sky vigilantly, as if evaluating this sudden enemy. The corners of Ye Changsheng's mouth slightly raised, and a hint of fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. He swung the magic sword fiercely and shouted, "Fire!" Following his order, the 3rd grade superior warships under him immediately took action. The spiritual cannons roared, and countless beams poured down like waterfalls. The elk monsters immediately fell into chaos. The bombardment of the spiritual cannons and the wailing of the elks intertwined, forming a tragic battlefield scene. Those weaker elks were hit by the spiritual cannons almost instantly, and fell in a pool of blood, and could never get up again. 4 3rd grade high quality elks tried to organize a counter-attack. They ran and jumped in the chaos, trying to avoid the attack of the spirit cannon. However, Ye Changsheng was well prepared. He controlled the wind controlling wings, shuttled flexibly in the air, swooped down from time to time, and used the magic sword to send out sharp sword energy to cooperate with the attack of the spirit cannon. This aerial attack strategy was effective. The elk monsters not only had to avoid the spirit cannons from the ground, but also had to beware of the sword energy that could come from the air at any time. Under this double pressure, they soon fell into a desperate situation. The battle lasted for about half an hour. When the last 3rd grade high quality elk fell, the entire battlefield was already in a mess. Ye Changsheng slowly landed, put away the wind controlling wings, looked around, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Search for spoils. Ye Changsheng ordered his men, pay special attention to collecting the demon pills and horns of the 3rd grade high quality elks. These are precious materials for alchemy. With the actions of various forces, the demon beast community in the entire area was gradually cleared, The monks of the Ye family kept shuttling between various spiritual places, reaping the fruits of victory one after another at the same time. Those monks of the Ye family who were allowed to move freely also launched actions in various places. They either acted in groups of 3 or 5, or individually, and chose suitable targets to hunt according to their own strength point. Although this decentralized action was risky, it also allowed more family members to gain practical experience and greatly expanded the search range. Chapter 421 Mutation. In this process, not all actions are smooth sailing. Some monks encountered monsters that were more powerful than expected and had to seek help urgently. Some monks also had disputes while searching for trophies, and the elders needed to mediate. But overall, the whole operation went pretty smoothly. As time goes by, more and more spiritual lands are cleared and a large amount of resources are collected. Ye Changsheng stood on the command podium and was fully aware of the progress of the entire operation through the news from all parties. But Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "At this rate, we should be able to complete the set goal within the scheduled time." He turned to the deputy beside him and said, "Go ahead and tell everyone to stay vigilant and don't let down your guard. Just because of the initial victory, there are still many unknown dangers in this area, and we must always remain cautious." The deputy responded respectfully and immediately went to deliver the order. Ye Changsheng cast his gaze into the distance again, thinking about his next action plan. He knew that this large-scale purge operation would definitely cause huge waves in the world of cultivation. Other families and forces will definitely pay close attention to the Ye family's movements. Therefore, he must ensure that every step is taken safely and does not give his opponent any opportunity to take advantage. At this moment, a messenger monk hurried over and reported to Ye Changsheng, "Master, a special spiritual place was found in the southeast, and it is suspected that a 4th level high-grade monster is infested. Master Ye Changsheng is requesting reinforcement." Ye Changsheng frowned slightly when he heard this. The 4th level peak monster is already a very difficult opponent. Even with Ye Changsheng's strength, he cannot take it lightly. He pondered for a moment and then decisively ordered, "Send the order and let Ye Changsheng lead a small team to support. At the same time, tell Ye Changsheng not to act rashly and wait for the reinforcement to arrive before making a decision." The messenger monk took the order and left. Ye Changsheng began to adjust the overall strategy. He convened several core members to discuss countermeasures. The 4th level high-grade monster discovered this time is probably not an isolated case. Ye Changsheng said in a deep voice, "We must be prepared to encounter more powerful opponents. From now on, all action teams must keep communications open and report any abnormal situations immediately. At the same time, strengthen the investigation of the surrounding environment to prevent being other forces took advantage of the situation." Everyone nodded in agreement and took their orders at the same time. The atmosphere on the battlefield where Ye Changsheng was located became tense. The suspected 4th level monster was a huge green-scaled python. It was entrenched on a hill. Its cold snake eyes looked down at the Ye family monks below, and from time to time it spit out long snake messages and made a heart-stopping hissing sound. Ye Changsheng clenched the demon-slaying gun in his hand, with fighting intent flashing in his eyes. Although the head of the family ordered not to act rashly for the time being, he had already begun to plan in his mind how to deal with this powerful opponent. "Master, it will take some time for reinforcement to arrive." The Ye family monk next to him whispered, "Should we retreat to a safe distance first?" Ye Changsheng shook his head, "No, we will wait here. Retreating may stimulate the python to attack. Now we maintain our formation and be ready to respond to emergencies at any time." At this moment, the giant green-scaled python suddenly moved. Its huge body slid down the hillside at an astonishing speed and swam in the direction of the Ye family monks. "Attention, everyone!" Ye Changsheng shouted loudly, "Keep your formation and prepare to fight." He quickly activated the 4th level high-grade Vajra defensive talisman on his body and at the same time raised the demon-slaying gun, assuming a fighting stance. Other monks also took out their magic weapons and prepared for battle. Just when the two sides were about to confront each other, a burst of sound suddenly came from the sky. I saw reinforcement led by Ye Changsheng arriving in time and falling from the sky. Brother, let me help you, Ye Changsheng said loudly. The magic sword in his hand was already unsheathed. With the arrival of reinforcement, the situation suddenly changed. The green-scaled python seemed to feel the threat and stopped its attack. A trace of hesitation flashed in its cold snake eyes. Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng quickly exchanged glances and reached a tacit consensus. Ye Changsheng shouted loudly. The whole army listens to the order and forms a formation. Following his order, the Ye family monks quickly adjusted their formation. Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng stood on the left and right wings of the formation respectively, holding magical weapons and showing impressive momentum. The other monks quickly got into position according to the formations they had rehearsed beforehand, forming a complex formation that was both offensive and defensive. The green-scaled python seemed to be aware of the change in the situation. It began to retreat slowly, as if looking for a breakthrough. But Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng did not intend to give it this chance. Brother Ye Changsheng sent a message. I will divert its attention while you look for opportunities to deliver a fatal blow. Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement. The next moment, Ye Changsheng unfolded his wind wings and soared into the sky. He shuttled flexibly in the air, swooping down from time to time, and used his magic sword to send out sharp sword energy to attract the attention of the green-scaled python. As expected, the giant python was attracted by this agile opponent and began to raise its head to attack Ye Changsheng in the air. Its speed is astonishing, and every attack is accompanied by a roaring sound, which makes people feel frightened. But Ye Changsheng's wind-controlling wings are more flexible and can always dodge attacks at the critical moment. Just when the green-scaled python was concentrating on dealing with Ye Changsheng seized the opportunity. He approached the giant python silently, with the demon-slaying spear in his hand ready to go. When the giant python pounced on Ye Changsheng in the air again, Ye Changsheng suddenly attacked. The demon-slaying spear was like a silver light, piercing the giant python's vital point. This attack contained all of Ye Changsheng's cultivation and combat skills, and was incredibly powerful. However, the strength of the 4th level peak monster was far beyond imagination. At the critical moment, the green-scaled giant python actually twisted its body and barely avoided the vital point. Although it was not fatal, this attack still caused considerable damage to the giant python. Blood gushed out of the wound, and the giant python let out a thunderous roar. Good opportunity, Ye Changsheng shouted. All troops attack. The Ye family monks, who had been prepared for a long time, immediately launched a fierce attack. Spiritual power, light column, magic weapon, flying sword, talisman spell. All kinds of attacks rushed towards the injured green-scaled giant python like a tide. The giant python retreated repeatedly under this fierce attack, but its strength was indeed strong. Even in such an unfavorable situation, it was still able to launch an effective counterattack. Its tail was like a giant whip, sweeping across and directly knocking away several monks who were too close. The battle entered a white-hot stage. Although the green-scaled giant python was injured, it still showed amazing fighting power. Its body was like a moving hill, and every attack was full of overwhelming momentum. Chapter 422, 4th level high-quality red clam. Although the Ye family monks were outnumbered, they did not dare to take it lightly. Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng cooperated tacitly. One was roaming on the ground to contain them, and the other was constantly harassing them in the air. The other monks took turns going into battle according to the arrangement of the formation, maintaining continuous attack pressure. At this moment, the green-scaled giant python suddenly opened its mouth, and a thick green poisonous mist spurted out. The poisonous fog came fiercely, covering a large area in an instant. Careful, Ye Changsheng shouted. This is extremely poisonous. Get back. The Ye family monks retreated one after another, but a few monks who were slower to react were still enveloped in the poisonous mist. They immediately felt severe pain all over their body, and their cultivation level was rapidly drained. Seeing this scene, a trace of anger flashed in Ye Changsheng's eyes. He took out a jade talisman from his storage bag and crushed it violently. Suddenly, a cool breeze swept over and dispersed the poisonous mist. Although the poisoned monks temporarily lost their combat effectiveness, their lives were not in danger. Brother Ye Changsheng sent a message. Continuing like this is not an option. We must fight quickly, otherwise there may be more casualties. Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement. In this thrilling battle, brothers Ye Changsheng and Ye Chengru faced the powerful green-scaled python. Although they cooperated tacitly, they also knew the danger of this battle point. Just when they were preparing to take the risk, Ye Changsheng's figure suddenly appeared on the battlefield, bringing 4 tier 4 battleships with him, and their momentum was like a rainbow, which instantly changed the atmosphere of the entire battlefield. Ye Changsheng landed quickly. His first concern was the safety of his 2 sons. He carefully inspected the bodies of Ye Changsheng and Ye Chengru, and felt relieved when he saw that, although they were frightened, they were not seriously injured. As a father, he is well aware of the terror of 4th order monsters, especially powerful beings like the green-scaled python. He took out a 4th level ancient treasure king iron sword from his storage bag. The sword's light flashed, revealing a strong pressure. Look at how my father will deal with this beast. Ye Changsheng spoke firmly and looked directly at the giant blue-scaled python with his eyes like a torch point. Before he finished speaking, he was already flying into the air, using all his strength to activate the king iron sword. Suddenly, a huge sword energy of 700 or 800 feet long emerged out of thin air, and the sword light shone in all directions, as if tearing the sky apart. After seeing this power, the green-scaled giant python had a look of fear in its eyes and immediately wanted to run away, but Ye Changsheng had no intention of giving it this chance. Go to hell. Ye Changsheng roared angrily, swung his huge sword energy, found the right angle, and slashed straight down with the light of the sword like a rainbow. The sword energy cut through the air, carrying the aura of destruction, and instantly cut the giant green-scaled python into 4 pieces. Blood spurted out wildly and scattered on the surrounding land. The scene was tragic. However, the struggle of the giant blue-scaled python did not end there. The remaining snake body was twisting on the ground, seemingly unwilling to die. Ye Changsheng looked solemn, knowing in his heart how powerful this monster was. He showed no mercy and swung his sword more than 10 times in a row. The sword energy was like rain, instantly cutting the giant python into dozens of pieces, ending the battle completely. As the last sword fell, the surrounding air seemed to become quiet, and only the remains of the green-scaled python and blood on the ground were left on the battlefield. After the battle, Ye Changsheng turned around and looked at his 2 sons sternly, with a hint of reproach in his tone. You must not be so reckless in the future. The 4th level high-grade monsters are definitely not Zifu like you. Junior monks can handle it. There was deep concern and warning in his words. Ye Changsheng and Ye Chengru looked at each other. Although they felt ashamed, they also understood their father's good intentions. The 2 bowed respectfully and said yes. However, Ye Changsheng noticed the excitement flashing in Ye Changsheng's eyes, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart, as if he understood his inner desire. Then, Ye Changsheng ordered the sons of the 8 teams to merge into 4 teams in pairs on a voluntary basis to prepare for the subsequent conquest. He emphasized again that he must not fight head-on with the 4th level monsters and must remain cautious. Then, he said to Ye Changsheng and Ye Chengru, in that case, you 2 should merge into a team. Ye Chengru immediately agreed, but Ye Changsheng remained silent, seeming to be thinking about something. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng felt a little helpless in his heart. In the end, he could only shake his head, sigh, and turn around to leave. He knew that Ye Changsheng's heart was still full of desire and yearning for fighting. After leaving not far away, Ye Changsheng called for a 4th order high-grade dragon and a 4th order high-grade 4-winged white tiger and ordered them to follow Ye Changsheng quietly. If Ye Changsheng's life was in danger, he must be brought back to safety land. If there is no life-threatening danger, just escort him quietly and don't worry about him. Ye Changsheng understood in his heart that Ye Changsheng's character made him always eager for battles and challenges, but as a father, he must protect his son and not let him risk his death. Ye Changsheng continued to choose to gather a larger group of monster beasts to prepare for subsequent conquests. He led 4 tier 4 battleships with a mighty momentum and led the Ye family monks to move forward. Not long after Ye Changsheng left the control of his father Ye Changsheng, he turned around resolutely and said to his brother Ye Chengru, you can find other teams. I want to lead the team by myself. Just as Ye Chengru was about to hurriedly dissuade him, He saw that Ye Changsheng had already boarded the 3rd level high grade battleship under his command and quickly issued an order, and the battleship immediately galloped away. Ye Changsheng stood there dumbfounded, unable to react for a long time. After a while, he finally calmed down, took out the communication jade talisman, sent a message to his father Ye Changsheng, and reported Ye Changsheng's actions in detail. With a sigh, Ye Changsheng decisively ordered the fleet to fly in the direction of his second brother Ye Changsheng, hoping to get support at a critical moment. At the same time, Ye Changsheng had already selected a 4th grade upper grade swamp spiritual land. According to the information provided by his father Ye Changsheng, there was a powerful 4th grade upper grade red clam lurking here. After Ye Changsheng arrived at the scene, he immediately ordered the 3rd grade upper grade warship to fire 36 spiritual cannons and attack the swamp in unison. The warship's spiritual cannons poured down like a rainstorm, quickly forcing out the giant red clam hidden in the swamp. The appearance of this red clam was extremely terrifying, with a huge body like a small mountain, with a dark red luster all over the body, and covered with hard scales on the surface. The scales were densely covered with countless tiny eyes, flashing with vicious light, as if constantly observing everything around them. Its limbs were strong and sturdy, like huge pillars, and its palms were covered with sharp claws, which were oozing with poison. Its head was huge, shaped like a giant house, and its 2 huge ruby-like eyes flashed with a frightening light. After the giant red clam appeared, it suddenly ejected its tongue, which was several hundred feet long, and quickly attacked Ye Changsheng. Chapter 423, The First Team. Ye Changsheng reacted quickly and immediately slapped out a large Vajra talisman. The talisman formed a thick defensive spiritual wall on his body and successfully bounced back the red clam's tongue. Ye Changsheng did not dare to slack off and quickly took out a 4th level top grade fiery sun burning heaven talisman from his storage bag. After activating it, a ball of blazing fire rose into the air and rushed straight towards the red clam with scorching heat. Because it was difficult for the red clam to dodge, half of its body was hit by the fireball, one leg was blown off, and the other leg was also severely injured, and its movements were obviously restricted. Seeing this scene, Ye Changsheng did not hesitate and ordered the Daoting Realm 3-legged fire crow to lead 110 purple mansion realm 3-legged fire crows to come to support. These fire crows quickly arranged into a large fire crow formation, constantly spraying blazing flames. The red clam was inconvenient to move, and the fire attribute restrained the water attribute. After a while, the giant red clam's body was burned by the flames and roasted for the most part, as if it had lost its vitality and remained still in the swamp. Ye Changsheng did not go to check immediately, but took decisive action. Took out a 3rd level ancient treasure, the demon slaying spear, gathered all his strength, and threw the demon slaying spear at the heart of the red clam. The demon slaying spear accurately penetrated the body of the red clam, and the huge body instantly deflated, making a final scream. As the body of the red clam shrank, the surrounding swamp seemed particularly quiet. Ye Changsheng paused for a moment, and after confirming that it was correct, he stepped forward to take out the demon slaying spear and prepared to dig open the body of the monster to extract the demon pill. However, at this moment, 3 huge 4th level top grade red clams suddenly jumped out of the swamp and rushed straight to Ye Changsheng. Seeing that he was about to be swallowed by the 4th level top grade red clam, Ye Changsheng reacted quickly, took out a 4th level top grade large diamond talisman and slammed it on himself. Suddenly, a thick spiritual wall formed in front of Ye Changsheng, successfully blocking the fierce attack of the red clam. Ye Changsheng knew that time was running out and quickly retreated to the 3rd level top grade warship. Although one red clam had been successfully repelled, 3 4th grade top grade red clams still had red eyes flashing and chased after them angrily. They stretched out their tongues that were several hundred feet long, trying to drag the warship into the depths of the swamp. Ye Changsheng did not hesitate, took out a divine crystal bomb from his storage bag and threw it accurately at the 3 red clams. The divine crystal bomb exploded in the air, forming a huge mushroom cloud with blood and flesh flying everywhere, and the scene was horrible. The 3 long tongues were also retracted under the impact of the explosion. The 3 red clams had been shattered and could no longer pose a threat to the warship. After the battle, Ye Changsheng and his entourage finally breathed a sigh of relief. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath, and his eyes were still vigilantly patrolling the surroundings to ensure that there was no danger missed. At this time, the members in the warship also regained their calm and exchanged their previous combat experiences and insights with each other. After Ye Changsheng successfully repelled the 4th grade top grade red clam, the 4 fleets began to act separately and perform their respective tasks among them. The first fleet was led by 3 brothers in the purple mansion period, Ye Changsheng, Ye Changsheng, and Ye Changsheng. With powerful equipment and fleets in hand, they decided to go to a monster gathering place not far away to annihilate them. This monster gathering place is located deep in a dense forest, surrounded by swamps and complex terrain. There are more than 20 3rd level top grade monsters in the monster group, led by a powerful 3rd level top level monster, the black scaled giant python. Before setting off, the 3 brothers carefully studied the topographic map and formulated a detailed combat plan. As the eldest brother, Ye Changsheng was responsible for overall command and strategic deployment. He stood at the highest point of the warship, holding the 3rd level ancient treasure Jin Wubo, with a sharp gaze, staring at the dense forest ahead. Ye Changsheng was responsible for melee command. He held a 4th level top grade attack talisman in his hand, ready to give the enemy a fatal blow at a critical moment. Ye Changsheng was responsible for air support and reconnaissance. The wind controlling wings behind him flapped gently, ready to take off at any time. The warship slowly sailed into the dense forest, and the 3-legged fire crows circled in the air, watching the surroundings vigilantly. Ye Changsheng ordered the 3 warships to be arranged in a triangular shape to ensure that each warship could cover each other. Just as they entered the depths of the dense forest, the monsters had already sensed the breath of the invaders, and they rushed out from their hiding places, making deafening roars. Ye Changsheng immediately gave an order: start the fire crow formation and suppress the monsters. 330 purple mansion period 3-legged fire crows quickly formed a formation, forming a huge flame barrier in the air, and the hot flames poured down like a waterfall, forcing back the monsters trying to approach. At the same time, the melee troops led by Ye Changsheng quickly attacked, and the attack talisman in his hand flashed with dazzling light, ready to release a fatal attack at any time. As the battle deepened, the monsters began to organize a counter-attack. The black-scaled giant python rushed out from the depths of the dense forest, and its huge body rolled up a cloud of dust on the ground and rushed straight to the warship where Ye Changsheng was. Ye Changsheng was not afraid at all. He quickly pulled the golden crowbow, and the arrow drew a golden trajectory in the air, shooting straight at the giant python's eyes. Unexpectedly, the black-scaled giant python dodged quickly, only taking away a piece of flesh and blood on its head. The black-scaled giant python let out a painful roar and was temporarily repelled. However, the other monsters did not retreat. Under the command of the giant python, they attacked the warship again. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately spread his wind-controlling wings and took off. He quickly shuttled in the air, using the terrain advantage to harass the monsters, and successfully attracted the attention of most of the monsters. Ye Changsheng seized this opportunity and led the melee troops to rush into the monster group and engage in fierce hand-to-hand combat. The attack talisman in his hand continuously released powerful energy fluctuations, repelling the monsters one by one. At the same time, Ye Changsheng calmly commanded on the warship, constantly adjusting the position of the fire crow array to ensure that the firepower covered every corner. The battle entered a white-hot stage, and Ye Changsheng realized that the black-scaled giant python must be dealt with as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. He quickly communicated with his 2 younger brothers and made a bold plan. Ye Changsheng was responsible for attracting the attention of the giant python. Ye Changsheng attacked from the flank, and Ye Changsheng was ready to release the strongest attack of the golden crowbow. Ye Changsheng kept circling in the air, using the speed advantage of the Yufeng wing to constantly harass the giant python. His movements were flexible and fast, and he successfully attracted the attention of the giant python. At the same time, Ye Changsheng quietly approached from the flank, with the attack talisman in his hand ready to go. Just when the giant python was concentrating on Ye Changsheng suddenly attacked from the flank, and the attack talisman released a dazzling light, hitting the flank of the giant python directly. The black-scaled giant python screamed and twisted its body violently, trying to get rid of the severe pain caused by the attack. At this moment, Ye Changsheng seized this excellent opportunity. He pulled the golden crowbar with all his strength, concentrated all his spiritual power, and turned the arrow into a golden meteor, shooting directly at the head of the giant python. Chapter 424, Second Team. The golden arrow hit the head of the black-scaled python accurately, like a divine punishment from heaven, and the powerful impact instantly penetrated its body. The python let out a final roar, and its huge body fell powerlessly, hitting the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. As the black-scaled python fell, the rest of the monsters lost their command, and were in chaos. Ye Changsheng took the opportunity to lead the melee troops to launch a fierce counterattack, and the flame formation of the three-legged fire crows also continued to suppress the monsters under the command of Ye Changsheng. After losing their leader, the monster group lost morale and was gradually defeated. The battle lasted for several hours, and finally, with the joint efforts of the three brothers, the gathering place of the monsters was completely cleared. Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng stood on the warship, looking at the clean battlefield, their hearts filled with the joy of victory. However, they did not relax their vigilance. Ye Changsheng ordered the troops to quickly clean up the battlefield and collect useful materials from the corpses of monsters, especially the demon pills and scales of the black-scaled giant python, which are extremely precious materials for refining. Ye Changsheng was responsible for checking the damage of the warships and arranging personnel to repair them. Ye Changsheng continued to scout in the air to ensure that there were no potential threats around. After a busy period, the battlefield finally returned to calm. The three brothers stood together and shared their experiences and insights from this battle. Ye Changsheng concluded, although this battle was difficult, we successfully defeated the enemy through cooperation and reasonable tactical arrangements. In the future, we must pay more attention to teamwork to be invincible in greater challenges. Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement. Yes, this battle made me realize that personal strength is ultimately limited. Only by unity can we exert our greatest potential. Ye Changsheng also smiled and said, that's right, especially when facing a strong enemy, flexible tactics and decisive decision making are the key to victory. After summarizing the combat experience, the three brothers led the fleet to move forward. As the warships left the dense forest, the sun shone through the clouds on their faces, as if cheering for their victory. The three brothers were full of expectations for the future. They firmly believed that, as long as they worked together, any difficulties could be overcome, and any enemy would be defeated. At the edge of the dense forest, where the sun was shining, the second fleet was ready to go. Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng stood on the bridge, looking into the distance with a firm gaze. Fighting side by side with them were Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng. The merger of the two fleets greatly enhanced their strength. At this moment, their goal was a huge gathering place of monsters led by 43rd level upper grade monsters. This combined team had 2 3rd level upper grade warships, 4 3-legged fire crows in the Daoting realm, and 443 3-legged fire crows in the Zifu period. Each brother was equipped with 3 4th level upper grade defense talismans, the Great Vajra talisman, and 2 4th level upper grade attack talismans. Such a configuration made them full of confidence. The warship slowly moved forward over the dense forest. Ye Changsheng's first assigned tasks. Changsheng, you are responsible for commanding the main gun attack of the warship to ensure that the enemy's main force is weakened in the shortest time. Changsheng, you are responsible for dispatching the 3-legged fire crow to distract the enemy as much as possible. Changsheng, you and I will be responsible for the advancement of the ground forces to ensure that we can break through their defenses before the enemy reacts. Ye Changsheng nodded and replied, understood. I will make full use of the firepower advantage of the warship and strive to defeat the enemy in one blow. Ye Changsheng was also confident. Don't worry, I will let the 3-legged fire crow tear the enemy's formation like a sharp blade. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly. Leave the ground battle to me. I will lead the troops to attack Huanglang directly. As the tasks were assigned, the warship accelerated forward. Soon, they arrived at the periphery of the monster gathering place. Ye Changsheng ordered all members to enter combat status, and the main gun of the warship began to charge. Start attacking. Ye Changsheng decisively ordered, and the main gun of the warship instantly fired a blazing beam of light, directly hitting the vanguard of the monster. A huge explosion resounded through the sky, and dozens of monsters were instantly reduced to ashes under the impact of the beam point. At the same time, Ye Changsheng commanded the three-legged fire crows to encircle from both sides. The fire of the fire crows swept through like a raging storm, tearing the monster formation into pieces. The monster group immediately fell into chaos and fled everywhere. Ground troops, charge. At Ye Changsheng's command, the ground troops poured into the battlefield like a tide, heading straight for the core area of the monsters. The magic weapons in their hands flashed with cold light, and the huge sword energy they emitted was imposing, and the oncoming monsters were defeated in an instant. However, the monster group was not without the power to fight back. With a deafening roar, 43rd level high quality monsters came out one after another. They were huge in size and amazing in strength. They quickly gathered together and tried to fight back. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately commanded the warship to adjust the direction and concentrate firepower to attack the leaders of these monsters. At the same time, he also ordered the release of the Great Vajra Talisman to form a solid defensive barrier to protect the warship from the attack of the monster. Changsheng continue to suppress the enemy leader. Ye Changsheng commanded loudly. Ye Changsheng did not hesitate to increase the firepower, and the warship's artillery fire poured down like a storm, and the third level upper grade monster retreated step by step under the fierce attack. Changsheng Firecrow continues to suppress the enemy's two wings. Don't give them any chance to counterattack. Ye Changsheng continued to give orders. Ye Changsheng commanded the Firecrows to shuttle flexibly in the battlefield, and the flames intertwined into a net in the air, completely suppressing the enemy's counterattack. The formation of the monsters was completely disrupted, and it was difficult to form an effective resistance. At this time, the ground troops led by Ye Changsheng had approached the core area of the monsters. They launched a fierce close combat with the monsters, and the roars of the monsters were endless. Between the flashes of swords and swords, Ye Changsheng held a long sword, and several monsters fell to the ground in the flash of the sword. While fighting hard, he commanded the troops to advance steadily and gradually erode the monster's defense line. The battle entered a white-hot stage. Although the monster group was large in number, it gradually showed signs of defeat under the exquisite cooperation of the four brothers and the suppression of powerful firepower. Ye Changsheng stood on the bridge and calmly observed the battle situation. He realized that he had to quickly get rid of the leaders of those third level upper grade monsters in order to completely disintegrate the resistance of the monster group. He decisively ordered, Changsheng, aim at the enemy leader with all your strength and make sure to kill him with one shot. Ye Changsheng immediately adjusted the warship's main gun and concentrated all firepower on the monster leader. With a deafening roar, the main gun fired a blazing beam of light, directly hitting the monster leader where the beam passed. The huge energy fluctuation shook the surrounding monsters to pieces. At the same time, Ye Changsheng commanded the fire crow to launch the final attack. Chapter 425 Second Order Small World. The fire crows drew a series of blazing flames in the air, rushing straight to the core area of the monsters. The flames poured down like a waterfall, drowning the monsters in the sea of fire. Ye Changsheng also seized the opportunity and led the ground troops to launch the final charge. They were like a sharp blade, stabbing deeply into the formation of the monsters. The long sword in Ye Changsheng's hand swung like the wind, and the monsters fell one after another as the sword energy flashed. Under the triple attack of warships, fire crows and ground troops, the monster group finally collapsed. The leaders of those third level high quality monsters fell one after another under the powerful firepower attack, and the monster group that lost its command fled like a headless fly. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately ordered, the whole army pursues and must completely eliminate the enemy and cannot leave them any breathing space. The warship accelerated forward, the fire crows chased closely in the air, and the ground troops also advanced rapidly under the command of Ye Changsheng. After a fierce pursuit, the group of monsters was completely annihilated, leaving only debris and gunpowder smoke on the entire battlefield. After the battle, Ye Changsheng, Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng stood on the warship, looking at the cleaned battlefield, their hearts filled with the joy of victory. Ye Changsheng concluded, this battle once again proved the importance of teamwork. We were able to quickly defeat the enemy because of our tacit cooperation and decisive decision making. Ye Changsheng nodded in agreement. Yes, the firepower advantage of the warship was fully utilized, and the enemy could not organize an effective counterattack at all. Ye Changsheng added, the flexibility and mobility of the firecrow also played a key role, successfully distracting the enemy's attention. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly. The charge of the ground forces was also timely, completely disintegrating the enemy's defense line. After summarizing the combat experience, the four brothers began to command the troops to clean up the battlefield and collect useful materials from the corpses of monsters, especially the demon pills and scales of those third level top grade monsters, which are extremely precious refining materials. After a busy period, the battlefield finally returned to calm point. The four brothers stood together, sharing their experiences and insights. From the battle point after the battle, the Ye family monks began to clean up the battlefield point. Several sons of Ye Changsheng continued to chase the remaining monsters on the side, and they were invincible. On the Ye family monks side, the remaining 288 foundation building monks were divided into 5 teams under the leadership of 5 purple mansion elders, and began to kill a large number of foundation building monsters, reaping a lot of rewards. One team of Ye family foundation building monks had just cleared a small hill, and several young foundation building monks decided to search nearby for possible missed spoils. They soon found a hidden wild boar cave and walked in with curiosity. The interior of the cave was more spacious than expected, and the air was filled with a faint fishy smell. Several monks moved forward cautiously, alert to possible dangers. Suddenly, one of them had a bright look in his eyes, pointed to the front and shouted, "Look, there is something there." Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a pile of glittering ore deep in the cave. They hurried forward to check and found that these were all second level spiritual ores, which was already a good harvest point. However, just as they were about to collect these spiritual ores, a sharp-eyed monk discovered something even more peculiar. "Wait, what do you see?" He pointed to the 2 round objects in the middle of the ore pile and said, "Point." Others came closer and saw that they were 2 strange stone balls, about the size of a bowl and very round. What was even more surprising was that the 2 stone balls showed colorful colors, as if they contained mysterious power. However, unlike their smooth shape, the surface of the stone balls appeared rough and uneven. Just as everyone was puzzled, an experienced late-stage foundation building monk suddenly felt something strange. He closed his eyes and concentrated, and after careful perception, he exclaimed, These 2 stone balls actually emit a faint spatial fluctuation." As soon as this was said, everyone was shocked. They all knew that items that could cause spatial fluctuations were definitely not ordinary items. Several monks quickly reached a consensus and decided to report this discovery to the elder, who led the team immediately. They carefully put away the 2 stone balls, quickly left the cave, and flew towards the direction of the great elder Ye Changsheng. On the way, they exchanged guesses with each other, both excited and nervous. Soon, they found Ye Changsheng, who was directing the clearing of the battlefield. Seeing several foundation building monks rushing over in a hurry, Ye Changsheng frowned slightly and asked, "What happened?" After the leading monk saluted respectfully, he presented the 2 stone balls and briefly reported the discovery. Ye Changsheng took the stone ball and looked at it carefully. At first he was a little confused, but as he observed more deeply, his expression gradually became surprised and then shocked. This is actually Ye Changsheng muttered to himself. With an incredible light in his eyes, he found that these foundation building monks had actually found an extraordinary treasure. This stone ball emitting space fluctuations is likely to be the legendary spiritual world. Judging from the intensity of the fluctuations, it is estimated to be at least a 2nd level spiritual world. Ye Changsheng was very excited. He knew the importance of this treasure to the family. He immediately made a decision and personally drove the flying boat. Regardless of fatigue, he spent a full half day and finally found Ye Changsheng, who was dealing with the aftermath at the other end of the battlefield. "Patriarch." Ye Changsheng began to shout from a distance, his voice full of excitement. Ye Changsheng turned to look at Ye Changsheng, who had hurried over, and asked in confusion, "Elder Changsheng, what happened? Why are you in such a hurry?" Ye Changsheng came to Ye Changsheng, bowed respectfully, and then said excitedly, Patriarch, we have made a major discovery. As he said that, he carefully took out the 2 stone balls from the storage bag and presented them with both hands. Ye Changsheng took the stone ball and looked at it carefully. As he observed more deeply, his expression gradually became pleasantly surprised. After a moment, he looked up at Ye Changsheng, his eyes flashing with excitement. I didn't expect it to be a spiritual world. Now our Ye family is really prosperous. Ye Changsheng said happily, I have some opportunities that I don't want to show to others. Now I have this spiritual world, I can plant those opportunities. Seeing the patriarch so happy, Ye Changsheng hurriedly said, Patriarch, the family has always owed you a lot. Since you like these 2 stone balls, why not exchange them directly for you to make up for your huge merit value in the family? To be honest, I can't sleep all day looking at your huge merit value. Ye Changsheng heard this and asked curiously, how much merit value do I have? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.